Bolt your windows. Lock your doors. Check your closets. Look under your bed. And then prepare yourself. For it's another episode of Dark Night of the Podcast. Whoa!
Hello, Dark Night of the Podcast, friends and family. Dare I say family? I feel like we've been separated here for a few weeks. What with the holidays and so forth, you all know that Troy and I, we take ourselves a little sabbatical. We take a couple weeks off around the holidays to spend with our actual family, blood related, not our podcast family, because y'all get us the rest of the year. But we took a couple weeks off. We are going to spend it, with our closest of kin, making memories. And I feel horrible because, Troy, it sounds like you spent your whole holidays like being horribly sick. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's another reason why I didn't push recording another episode. I know at the end of our last episode, we stated that we were going to cover a film you hadn't seen, Christmas Evil. That got put to the wayside. Yeah, my dad came to visit me for Christmas, and literally the day after he arrived, he got deathly sick, and he basically was in bed. He holed up in my spare bedroom for 4 of the 7 days that he was here. The one day that he started to feel better, I felt like shit, and I mean, it was horrible. And yeah, I was sick, deathly sick for Christmas into New Year's. Still have a little bit of congestion, but we're back, and I'm super excited, Roger. I was just telling you before we started recording, I feel a little rusty. It's been a while since we actually recorded, because our last episode I posted was one we did for Patreon several years ago. So it's been a while since we've been on this mic, and I just got to say, I think it's appropriate to say Happy fucking New Year's, listeners. Happy fucking New Year's. It's 2025. We are coming into 2025 like a train. Hoot, hoot. And yeah, so here we are, recording our first episode of 2025.
Yeah, and I mean, appropriate. And I think we would have probably dropped this a week ago, and it would have felt amazing. Everything would have been timed perfectly. But then Troy got, the bubonic plague, and here we are. And now I'm going to say this, y'all. We're just giving you a taste of it, because next week, I'm traveling in high fashion. I'm going to Barcelona. Which is the opposite of what Troy is experiencing. I'm having myself a vacation. I'm going to be taking a cruise. I'm going to be going to Barcelona. My partner and I are going to be seeing what we think of it, because my partner and I are terrified of being in the United States for the next 4 years. And we will be there for the inauguration, which I think is the best possible decision we could have made, to be as far away from the United States as possible right now, without getting into any specifics. But just know I'm not going to be here for the next episode. Perhaps Troy will bring on a lover, a friend, somebody to fill my void, though that isn't possible. I mean, it's not possible. Challenge accepted, I guess.
Hey, I've attempted to in the past. If our faithful listeners remember, there's been a couple of moments in time where I have had to bring on guests to fill your void, because you've been off gallivanting across the fucking world, filming that damn meat that, we're all excited to see. So I'm used to it. And yeah, I could probably line up a guest, because I think you're going to be gone for 2 weeks, and I definitely don't want to leave listeners hanging for 2 weeks. So I have some guests in mind, and we'll get some stuff out there. But tonight, Roger, it's all about, and I think it's appropriate because this technically is a New Year's themed film.
It is
one of the very few horror films that's New Year's themed. And I was fucking flabbergasted to find out that you have never seen this film.
I have never seen this film, and I do think it is extremely surprising. Though, upon viewing it now, I do think I've actually caught this chunks of this film and not even realized it. The finale, very familiar. But overall, it's just one of those there's so many titles that come up as should have seen them, You should have seen this title. It just seems like, how would you not? This is a film that stars Jamie Lee Curtis. I should have seen this. Me, a Jamie Lee Curtis fan, that old gal, shining like the sun, getting all these good roles now in her senior years.
Can we just congratulate her? She just got a SAG nomination for Best Supporting Actress for The Last Showgirl.
Oh my God. I can't wait. I can't wait for The Last Showgirl. Pamela Anderson. She was not in this movie, but she is in The Last Showgirl.
You know who is in this movie, though? It's almost as good as Pamela Anderson. Vanity.
I was going to say Vanity. I was like, is that fucking Vanity?
It is.
Vanity 6, Vanity, evangelical Vanity. Sure enough, in a thankless role that really don't go nowhere. But you know what? I was happy to see her. And I was happy to see Jamie Lee Curtis. And, I'm sure the listeners are already well aware of the title we're covering. I mean, you're going to see it when you click on it. So why even hide it? We're covering Terror Train. Troy picked this title. I thought it's appropriate because I'm going on a trip. I'll be on a boat, but I love the idea of being on a train. I think it sounds a lot more secure. But after seeing this movie, it seems quite claustrophobic. And I don't know. Like, Troy, have you ever been on a train? What are your thoughts of trains?
I have never been on a train. And I really think that one of the things that always has stuck with me watching this film is the word claustrophobic, because this film definitely gives that claustrophobic feeling. I think the cinematography is very effective in this film in creating that tight, claustrophobic, rocky kind of atmosphere that you would experience on a train. And I mean, this is a film that, it's Jamie Lee Curtis. It's one of her early Scream Queen roles, one of the roles that made her a Scream Queen. And she filmed this back to back with Prom Night. And a little bit of backstory, because I don't think people realize like the pedigree of talent that this film has behind it. I don't know if you even realize this, Roger, but like Jamie Lee Curtis did, she auditioned for this role. The director asked her specifically to audition for it because he saw Halloween. And of course, this film came to fruition as a Halloween on a train is how the producer and the writer kind of came up with this idea. Halloween on a train. We want Halloween on a train. However, they were able to really rope in some really impressive talent, which is the only reason why Jamie Lee Curtis ultimately agreed to do this film, is because of the talent that was behind it. The director, Roger Spottiswoode, his first film, he's gone on to make numerous things since, but this was his directorial debut. He worked very closely. He was Sam Peckinpah's editor. So he edited films like Straw Dogs. Because of his involvement with this film, Roger, he was able to nab cinematographer John Alcott, who had just won an Oscar for Best Cinematography a couple years before for Barry Lyndon. He worked exclusively with Stanley Kubrick and actually was a cinematographer for The Shining that came out the same year as Terror Train. So just the cinematographer behind this film, Oscar winning. And then you throw in Ben Johnson playing Karn, who had also just won an Oscar a couple years prior for The Last Picture Show. So the amount of talent behind this film was, for a slasher film, a low-budget slasher film, was, unheard of at the time. And it is the sole reason why Jamie Lee Curtis said yes. She did not want to do this film. She had just filmed Prom Night. She didn't want to be pigeonholed. The only reason she agreed was because John Alcott and Roger Spottiswoode were involved. And she had the expectations that this was going to be a much classier film than what else was coming out at the time.
Everything you're saying makes a lot of sense to me because, when, Halloween on a train, perfect. A perfect description. Lots of moments of trying to build suspense, really utilizing the shadows and the tight spaces and the nooks and crannies that exist on a train, as you would expect. But there is a certain caliber. Like, I feel like watching this film, there's a certain quality that comes with it that I just don't think like one would anticipate. Like, for me, as fresh eyes, I've never seen this movie. I've intentionally not watched the remake. Like, I know the basic gist. I knew about the masks, the changing masks, which I thought was a cool concept. But like that's it. I haven't even seen a lot of like the promo art or like trailers for this movie. The one thing though that did stand out was I swear I've seen that finale. Like that finale is striking. There's something about that finale that really pops. But overall, I mean, the talent in this film, though, many of the characters feel severely underdeveloped. Everybody here feels very like authentic. Like you're getting some really strong performances. There's a lot of chaotic, frenzied energy that you would expect from college students, and it makes it feel very real. Like this world feels extremely lived in, and I think that only goes to show that, like, kind of across the board, this was handled by professionals. It looks it. It's a beautiful film. It boasts some really like fun performances. Unfortunately, there's some elements about like the script and especially the characters themselves that I find to be almost unpleasant and kind of like detracts from my experience. But at the end of the day, did I have a fucking good experience watching this movie? Yes. Do I struggle? Do I really struggle with certain choices that were made in the development of these characters and what happens to them? Like, do I struggle with that? And does it take some of the joy out of the experience for me? I've got to say, like, yeah, it kind of does. These are some shitty fucking the med students, like horrible people doing shitty things to each other. And it was really hard to want to root for a lot of these people.
I'm glad that you mentioned the script being problematic for you, because I think that's what I go back to when I kind of evaluate this film and really, really, really want to get down to the nitty-gritty as whether I truly think this is a great film or not, or even a good film. I enjoyed this film. I think there's some striking imagery in this film. I agree with you. The climax, whew. But like there's just something, a disconnect, I think, with the script that it leaves me cold. There are some weird decisions that are made script wise, and it surprises me because going back to the talent that's involved with this film, I would think that the script would have been, I think the script could have used a couple of more revisions, a couple more eyes on it, to tighten it up a little bit. Some things seem really shoehorned in. And again, the structure of this film, even though it's trying to be a traditional slasher film, the structure of the film for me is odd at times. And dare I say, and I hate to say this, dare I say, there are some boring parts in this film. And for a slasher film, let's also acknowledge that the deaths in this film are extremely bland.
I don't think there's a single kill in this movie that pops to me. Do I think there's some sequences that are quite well handled? Yes. Do I think there are some revelations that I was all on board for it? Like, so towards the end of the movie, do I think it's like it built up to a satisfying conclusion? Yes. But like getting there at times is almost a struggle. And it's because like when you're specifically bringing up the kills, and I know we're going to start getting into this film, but like, let's take a moment and acknowledge, like, if I'm coming in watching not just a slasher, but one of I would say like the definitive slashers of that era, and a slasher that does have attached to it the pinnacle scream queen to spawn from that era. I came in expecting that to be the aspect that was going to shine to me, and the fact that the kills are the most underwhelming aspect of this film, it's kind of baffling to me because of everything you said, because of the obvious talent operating both in front of and behind the camera. I was really expecting it to be blown away, and not just are the kills like lacking, but when they do show certain things, when they do choose to actually show some gore, even then it's like unimpressive. Like it's kind of bad, and that's so disheartening because everything else about this really kind of means it should work.
Yeah, one of the worst decapitated heads I've ever seen. It looks nothing like the actor that it's supposed to be.
It looks like he's been dead for like 3 months. Like it's like so weird.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I think we can get into this film and really start to dissect it. And, the film, obviously, like almost every other slasher that came out during this time period, centers around either high school or college students. And this one is a group of medical students, and the film opens up at a frat party. And this is the Sigma Phi Omega house. And we're right away just introduced to random characters through just kind of throwaway dialogue. You get Mo, Doc, and of course the character of Elena, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. What is happening here is, again, a setup that should be highly more effective than what it ends up being for me. I mean, for the opening scene, I was kind of this opening scene has always sort of bothered me because I don't think it packs as big of a punch as it could. But what's going on is you have a pledge, Kenny Hampson, who is the most awkward looking person I've ever seen on film.
Horribly awkward. Shockingly awkward.
But let me save this for the end of the film because I don't want to get way ahead of myself. But like the guys are like telling him that Jamie Lee Curtis, this character Elena, has like a crush on him, and that he needs to follow her up to the bedroom, so that he can get some. And Elena goes up there with her best friend Mitchie, played by Sandy Curry, who we all know and love from Curtains. She was in Curtains and one of the actresses in Curtains. Elena is very hesitant to do this. She's like, I don't want to. Mitchie's like, well, come on, you got to do it. You're the hottest piece of ass. So Elena gets into this bedroom, and the whole thing is there's a figure on the bed. Kenny comes in. Elena is supposed to hide behind the curtain and really encourage Kenny to disrobe and get in bed. And he does. Again, awkward. This actor is so awkward, but highly effective, actually, when the revelation is made. He gets into bed, and she's like, kiss me, Kenny. Kiss me. He goes in to kiss this figure that's on the bed, and its arm comes off, and it plops down on the bed, and it is a corpse. Now, I will say, this effect is the best in the film. This corpse looks fucking disgusting. It's some old hag, been dismembered. I mean, it's horrible. I would probably scream too. But do you not agree with me that this whole like after thing is so awkward? He like starts screaming and then like twirls around and gets caught in the bed curtain. It's really awkward.
I got a lot to say. And this is going to be a good conversation. Let me just be clear on this, because God, I'm so torn on this film. I'm going to back it up a few steps. When the movie starts, for me, I was like, oh, this is starting on a strong note. Like, you come into this great bonfire sequence. There's energy. It's like I mentioned, chaotic. There's this chaotic energy in which when people are talking, they're overlapping. They're yelling at each other and like shouting from across the lawn. And it's just, it doesn't feel like a film where people are just standing in a box, talking to each other, like standing in a square, like just getting the angles, getting through the dialogue, getting from scene to scene. Like this feels, again, very lived in. And I really appreciated that about this opening. Like I bought it. I dug the soundtrack. It just felt like very alive. And so I came in and I'm like, wow, I'm sold on this group of people. And even though we're not getting really proper introductions kind of to anybody, because it does feel kind of like overwhelming, like you're just being thrown into the midst of this big bonfire event for these pre-med students, you're still getting the feel for like a lot of these individuals being very charismatic. Like there's a lot of charisma, even in the smallest characters. There's a lot of charm amongst these people. So you've got this whole moment and it's building up to this sequence, and there's going to be like a setup, like there always is. There's going to be a setup here that something's going to happen that's going to come back to haunt these people. There's a certain blueprint for these films. It's starting to build up to something that I'm like, this is going to be really exciting. They're walking through the frat house. There's this really cool lighting spinning around, all these colors. It's very dramatic. And like, even as they're setting up for what the character of Elena is going to do, though I don't really buy that this character would just do this. Like, I feel like she seems to have a moral compass through most of the film. This doesn't necessarily seem in line with her or like a decision she'd make, but she's kind of pushed into it. So she just goes along with it. You can tell that she's like not wanting to, but it's like, it's just cruel in concept what she's already doing. And I think she thinks this is a mannequin on the bed. Makes sense. She's clearly like, let's be clear, she is not clued in on what the joke actually is going to be or how cool it is. She's not aware of the corpse factor. And so I do think that is giving her a little bit of grace, but still, it's a mean joke. The setup's great. You have this awkward moment of him disrobing in this like little yellow underwear. He's just like very lean and frail. He is the best cast nerd I've ever seen because it's not a caricature. It doesn't feel over the top. He feels very believable. He's not playing it like some like just cartoony character. He feels like a real person who's just very uncomfortable and awkward. And then you get to the moment where you have this reveal. You're right, Troy. You've got this great corpse reveal. And when you say disjointed, as soon as they make the decision to like start to slow the footage down and he's getting caught up in the fabric, it starts to suddenly feel very like awkward, and not in like a good way. It starts to feel very like, wait, like what's going on here? Like what exactly is even happening? It doesn't feel natural that he would get caught up in these curtains, but it's happening. You're kind of going with it. And then like it just slows down and it cuts and you're like, whoa, wait, what the fuck? Like what just happened? Like, I mean, I get they're like kind of leaving you on a cliffhanger, but like, what is the cliffhanger supposed to be? Did he die? Did this kid die? Like, you know, like what happened? I want a payoff. After all of that, I want a payoff that I'm not getting. And it's a sign of things to come. It's a sign of things to come with this film.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The opening feels very authentic. It's you know, you're just there. You're just an observer watching these characters interact, and it seems very realistic, very natural. The camera's flowing. It's beautiful camera work. When it kind of flows up the stairs, it's beautiful. It's a beautifully lit scene. John Alcott is known as one of the probably the best lighters of film of all time, and it's apparent in this film. Yeah, and Alana's character, I've always questioned like what her like motivation to do this is. You know, you can say that she thinks it's a mannequin, but like when they walk into the room, she sees the person on the bed and she even asks Mitchie, "Who's that?" And Mitchie's like, "Well, it's one of Doc's friends." And I'm thinking, well, wouldn't that like clue you in that something's not right? Because if that's a person in the bed, why couldn't they be the one that are, you know, I don't know. It's just real weird. Yes, this actor, Derek McKinnon is his name, the guy that plays Kenny. Interesting tidbit about him, Roger. I mean, you're picking up things that, you know, I wanted to talk about because he is a normal person. He's not a professional actor. This is his first role, his only role, if I'm correct. He may have done some bit roles, but do you know what his profession was and kind of why he was chosen as this role? Is he was a very prominent drag performer in Quebec at the time. And the director caught wind of him and wanted him to audition for this role. He'd never done a film before. And so that's how he got the role. And it plays into the character very well, actually. But yeah, this whole awkward, like spinning, getting caught in a sheet, slowing it down. And maybe it's me being like a cold, heartless person as I get older, Roger. You know, I'm scorned as I get older. But like, okay, I get it. This is a horrible joke. I get it. Am I wrong in saying we've seen far worse stuff pulled on people?
Oh,
and like, I'm struggling with the idea that, and again, I guess if the person has issues already, this could be a huge thing that triggers them. But like, I keep thinking like, that's it. Like it's not like he kissed it. It's not like he like made out with it. He basically touched it for like 15 seconds, its arm fell off. Yes, it's horrible, but would it, and again, people might come at me, but would this be enough to cause someone to hatch this huge revenge plan and like murder people? I guess I wanted something bigger, like something more. And this sounds fucking terrible, but think of shit that's been done to people in horror movies as pranks. That I just wanted something more effective. Does that make sense? Does that make me a shitty person?
Well, I mean, it could have been a lot of things too. It's not like he has to like stumble out the window and die. You know, like, I mean, there's so many routes they could have taken this that would have given us as the viewers more of a satisfying payoff. Because you're absolutely fucking right. Like, it's just the stakes aren't high enough. Fuck it. Like, let him bust out of the fabric and start attacking them or something. And they all beat the shit out of him. And then he gets put in a ward because they turn the story around that he fucking attacked them. I don't know they could have done something there that would have been just so much more satisfying. And it doesn't set me up as the viewer to come into this story being like, I can't wait to see them get theirs. I can't even imagine like what the fuck that this fucker is going to do. I don't even know who the killer is. I spend most of the film thinking there's no way it's going to be this kid, that he's just like a red herring storyline and something else is going to come out. That was my expectation coming into this, because I was like, this just isn't enough of a setup to merit, unless we have a revelation that the kid died or something, killed himself. It's not enough of a setup to merit the scale of vengeance I feel that is executed on these people.
Yeah, and again, the scene just kind of ends. It ends in a very slow motion of him being caught up in this sheet that was hanging over the bed. And then the film transitions to 3 years later. You get that really cool, effective like title card. I love this, like when I guess it's like what is it, like a garage or something. This train's kept it, and it slowly opens, and the train comes out of it, and it's beautiful. It's and you get the title card, Terror Train, and it flash forwards to 3 years later, and the bus pulls up to this train station, steam engine station, and it is the characters that we met briefly in the opening scene. You get, again, Doc, who emerges as the kind of the leader of the pack. He's not the president of the frat house, but he's definitely the one that's in charge. Strangely attractive, Hart Bachner, who was in also years later Urban Legends Final Cut. And you have Mo, who is Elena's boyfriend. Again, Mitchie. You get Jackson. You get the Prez, this dude that's dressed up as like Uncle Sam the whole movie, who is the frat house president. But basically, what the revelation is that they are spending their New Year's Eve on a steam train. Going to be a big old fucking party on the steam train. And Mo has led Alana to believe that this was his idea. So, and it's also a costume party. So everyone's in various costumes. Like you get Jackson, who's in the lizard costume, which becomes a prominent costume. You get, what's his name? Ed, who is dressed as Groucho Marx. He has that goddamn blow-up doll that he's making jokes with. And I mean, again, I like the energy of this scene. As the passengers are waiting to get on the train, everyone's excited. It's chaotic. People are talking over each other. The conductor, Karn, comes out, played by Academy Award winner Ben Johnson, and, helps the magician load his crate. And we have to stop and acknowledge, Roger, David Copperfield. Young David Copperfield.
Young fucking David Copperfield. And I was like, what the fuck? This is out of nowhere. And like, it took me a moment. Like, I was on Wikipedia. I was looking, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And I was like, holy shit. I was like, this is David fucking Copperfield. Like, this is the David Copperfield. And like, okay, like, I get it. This film likes a couple of things. This film likes costumes. Love it. Give me a costume party any day of the week. This film loves trains. Elegant. I'll take a train ride. That sounds great. Scenic. And this film fucking loves magic. And you know what? I have no time for it all. No offense to anybody. Like, if you love magic, go chase your dreams. Like, by all means, go pull a rabbit out of a fucking hat. But for me, the last thing I want to invest any time in any format is magic. I don't want to watch a movie about, a ghost that does magic. I don't want to watch a movie about a serial killer that does magic. I certainly don't want to watch a movie about a serial killer on a train in which somebody else happens to be doing magic for 90% of the movie. And it is all consuming. Terror Train is mostly a magic show, and I fucking hate that.
When I told you that I feel like the film is boring in parts, I don't know if they purposely tried to make this a showcase for David Copperfield. It certainly seems that way.
Yes.
I'm wondering if it's like the only way he would sign on to do it. He's like, I'll do it, but you got to give me like 10 minutes of magic trick screen time. And they're like, okay, well, because, he never did another film after this. This was his first and only like role outside of being David Copperfield. He's done like TV specials and stuff like that, but this is his only film role. And you watch this film, and by God, it does feel like it's a David Copperfield showcase. There are long stretches of him performing magic tricks. Now, I guess, are they fun to watch? I don't fucking know. I mean, like you, I don't really have a big interest in magic, so I'm tuning out during these long David Copperfield moments. But he's a pleasant addition, and I will say, like, he's actually good. Like, when he's acting, he's good. Like he's pretty good. But yeah, you just got this costumes galore. You got these two other gals running around. The one I just keep thinking, this is Roger. The pet,
The busty one in the
yes,
pair of pants up to her knockers.
yes. That's me.
Pet. Who the fuck names anybody Pet? The names in this. Okay, let's let the names alone. You got Doc, you got the Prez. Most people don't have names. So when I am introduced to fucking Pet, I don't know if that's a name. I don't know if it's a nickname. I don't know if it's implying that she likes to be groped. She seems like that kind of gal. She seems also like the kind of character who I would expect would have a horrible death. And I just kind of like, where does she go? They're on a train. I mean, she can't. They just choose to stop talking about Pet at a certain point. Weird. A lot of it's just weird decisions. But there's so many people. Here's one thing I'll say. First time I watched this movie, I had no idea who the fuck anybody was. I didn't know who got stabbed because someone's about to get stabbed here. I didn't know who it was. I was like, okay, I'm going to go with it. Ends up being Ed. Who the fuck is Ed? Like, okay, Ed, okay, he's the Groucho Marx guy, but like, did I meet him at the bonfire? I can't remember. So these characters are given so little time to baste in the moment before they're dispatched. Like, they're literally like, bring him on camera and kill him. Like, show him on screen for a fleeting second earlier in the movie, and then bring him on camera and kill him. And that's how they treat a lot of these people. And it's hard to like any of these people because I know very little about them.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, these characters there's a lot of them. I mean, the train is packed full of characters and they blend together, especially when you're throwing in costumes. And then, Ed, we saw in the opening scene. Ed was the one that, during the opening scene, Doc shook his hand with the cadaver hand, and that was Ed. As they're piling onto the train, like Ed stumbles out, and this is in front of an entire group of people, Roger. He has a sword like impaled through him, blood's gushing everywhere. Everyone just thinks it's a joke. They're like, oh, Ed is playing a practical joke again. Now, I guess, but again, it goes back to your point. Does Ed normally play these types of jokes? Apparently so, but we don't know. Like, we're just told through the other characters that, oh, it's a joke, without really ever being introduced to Ed as a jokester. I mean, yeah, he has that fucking blow up doll and he's making lesbian jokes about it and stuff, but like, this is a pretty elaborate joke. And they just like leave him at the side of the train
to be run over. To be run over by the train. Did nobody see the body? Okay, I didn't mean to talk over you, but like, let's acknowledge that train just drives over this dead man, and no one says a thing about, like, no one, tell me there's not some random schmo that's like, that guy just fucking ran him over by that train. Nobody saw it.
Well, and nobody sees the killer take the costume off of him. Like, the killer disrobes him. Like, the killer leaves Ed on the side of the tracks in his underwear. Like, he takes his entire costume off. I will say, this killer, Roger, is fucking... Yeah, here's the thing. I also feel like this film suffers a lot of logical fallacies. You have to really suspend a lot of belief. Don't even think about how the killer's pulling this off, how they can be in two places at once, because it makes zero fucking sense when you think about it. And the way that scenes are edited together, there's no way the killer could have been away from where they're supposed to be for as long as they are in a fucking lizard costume without anybody noticing. That's another. Don't even try to think about that because it makes zero sense logically.
When this whole bit starts happening with this fucker getting stabbed and he's walking out with a blade through his torso and everyone seems okay with it. My big problem was, I was like, did I see him get stabbed? Like, did I witness it? Did I experience any, like, did I miss the killer, like, sneakily going by and, I don't know, just stabbing the man? I don't know how you do that discreetly. But this is executed in a way where, like, I'm deprived of literally the whole kill experience. And I'm supposed to just be okay with the fact that, like, all of a sudden this guy walks out with a knife or a blade in him. Not even a blade. A fucking, like, showman sword. It's a sword. And I'm supposed to be like, okay, that's fine. Like, I'm going to just roll with it. Like, I feel like somebody here was like, let's just not show it. And people were like, that's a good idea. And looking back in retrospect, it's the worst part about this film is there's so many times here that they choose to not show it. And it's not just cutting away from kills. It's whole setups. It's whole scenarios. Like there's so many times that like you just like walk in and something is completely different or has been executed or done, or that just doesn't, like you said, it doesn't make sense. It's such a stretch of the imagination that like it almost takes some of the threat factor out of this film. I wouldn't say this film is scary. I really wouldn't say this film is scary until you get to that final fucking 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, talk about not seeing something happen. There is a character's death, a prominent character's death in this film that I think you know who I'm talking about. I don't know how it happens. I watched the scene 5 or 6 times and I still don't know how it happened, but we're just going to go with it. We'll get there.
We're just going to go with it.
So we go back, we get on the train. We do see the train like roll over Ed's body. Nobody bats an eye, just run Ed over. And you know, as it goes on, you know, I guess Pet was Ed's date because she spends the first 10 minutes of the film looking for Ed until she realizes she can get some doc dick, which I'm like, hey, I'll go there. I'll go there with you, honey. I get it. He's hot. But so we're on the train. Now we have to have a moment between Alana and Mitchie. It's just some random girl talk about how they're going to miss each other. They're best friends. You get that rabbit broad that comes up and is like congratulating Alana for graduating early. And Mitchie's like, oh, you're really going to leave me here by myself. I'm going to miss you so much. She automatically launches into this like strong Southern accent that she did not have the entire rest of the film. But I guess we just have to see that these two are friends. I don't know.
Doesn't feel like it based off what she does to her.
Okay. I know. I think another problem with this film, Roger, and I don't know if you disagree with me or not. I don't think a lot of these characters have chemistry together. I will say like the two characters that have the strongest chemistry together and it comes off as being gay is Doc and Mo.
I don't think there's enough like scenarios in this film giving these characters enough moments away from the actual storyline for us to feel like we've spent time with them to see any form of chemistry. Like there's so few moments of like Alana. Is it Alana? Jamie Lee Curtis.
I think they actually say it both ways. That's another thing in the film. There's some characters call her Alana, some call her Elena.
But there's so few moments of her and her best friend, the blonde, like Mitchie. I mean, again, another weird fucking name. Oh, who the fuck names their daughter Mitchie? Okay, I'll go with it, weirdo, with your fucking weird name. So, but like, there's like 2 moments of them together, and I'm like, are they best friends? Like, are they supposed to be? We're really not getting a ton of it. And then Mitchie goes and does some fucking shitty things. Everyone's doing shitty things to everybody here. So like, I just question the quality of these relationships. Nobody seems to really care about each other. It's not like anyone's stepping up to the bat to like defend one another. There's never a moment where people are working together here. Nobody is like looking out for each other. It feels really cold.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, it does. And you know, Alana is supposed to be Mo's girlfriend, and again, I could not get the least amount of chemistry from these two. Then it just doesn't exist. And like even like he's shitty towards her. It's just weird. We'll get to some weird things that kind of pop up throughout the film. Okay, so the party's in full swing. You get Pet walking around looking for Ed. They have to make a point to keep cutting to the conductor's booth or whatever you want to fucking call it, the conductor's car. I think they realized they got Ben Johnson, Academy Award winning actor Ben Johnson. And they're like, well, we got to give him more to do. We got to show him more because he just won an Oscar and he's going to, you know, we can say our little low budget slasher film has an Oscar winning actor in it. But it's like random shit. Like there's this whole like 5-minute scene where he's talking with his like porter guy or his co-conductor about like RVs are going to be he thinks RVs are going to be the next huge thing. And his assistant's like, no, people aren't going to give up train. And I'm like, this is the most pointless dialogue I've ever heard in my fucking life.
There are times I feel like I am watching an adult version of Shining Time Station starring a delicate Didi Khan. And I don't know if you recall that show, but it's all about trains. And this movie, like, it loves that it's set in a train. It is like talking about how the train operates. You're getting the whole explanation of like, yeah, how trains are like going to be like, they're probably going to not be a fad anymore. And they're like, no, trains will always be important. And they like smile into each other. I'm like, why am I here? Give me more time with the kids that did this thing to this person. I don't care about these old men.
No, and then you get the line that he delivers very like, and it's like, when's the last time you saw a train station be built next to a mall? I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? Again, it's Ben. They're milking every ounce of Ben Johnson out of him that they can.
I would be amiss, Troy. I would be amiss if we're talking about Ben Johnson and we dare overlook that random, unnecessary scene of him and that angel dove of a woman in that wheelchair. Who are they like?
Oh, we skipped over her.
Oh,
Maggie.
I'm taking it back.
Maggie.
It's the star
Maggie.
of the show.
Oh, he wants to take her on the train, and she's like,
"Can you imagine if she would have
Oh God, that broad wheeling up and down the fucking booze cart.
Oh my God, her death would have been glorious.
I cannot believe we skipped over. I even have a note about Maggie because
that's sweet.
Oh, she's like, I don't know what. But and that scene actually, like, thank you for bringing it up because that scene is important because the dialogue he has with Maggie is about the fact that they've never put a radio on the train, so they can't radio for help. He's like, I don't know what we're going to do if someone gets hurt, can't radio for help. And he's like, that's why you should come on, Maggie, and help us out in her fucking wheelchair. What is she going to do?
What the fuck is she going to do?
They're too rowdy for me.
Yeah. Oh my God. And then do they like a moment where they do like a little dance? Where they like, she's wheeling like back and forth. And then like he walks away and it's just a shot of her pleasant, withered, smiling face, like full of hope. And then you never see her again. And I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, well, after these shenanigans, you get a scene with the magician. The magician. He is watching the crowd, and we got his feminine, lanky assistant. Doesn't have a name, but she's there with her breathy voice, talking about how great it is that they get to perform on a train. It's better than a 6-year-old's birthday party. He's like, I don't know. Look at that crowd. They're gonna suck. They're gonna stink. They won't be quiet. I need things quiet for my illusions. And she's like, well, you need to go out there and do some close-up magic and warm them up. And he's like real ominous.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna keep it very limited because we normally like to just get it out there, but I'm gonna save my full reaction for the finale as well. But I'm gonna say this gal, she's there. You look at her and you're like, okay. Like, if anything, you're like, she's kind of like underutilized. Like, she's getting a couple moments here and there. Underutilized. You don't pay you're not even paying attention to her.
You don't. And no. And they really do a really good thing. And this is going to sound mean, but they do a really good thing to try to shield her face as much as possible. Like, they keep her there are a few moments where you get to see her and then as you realize the revelation and stuff, and you go back and watch, you're like, okay, yeah, it's super obvious.
Very,
very, very feminine. Like, you would not know that this is who it ends up being. And I mean, she's playing the role. I mean, it is the person. But yeah, they do a really good job. And the voice is very different. The voice that he's using.
I thought it was a Scandinavian woman. I just thought it was some Scandinavian woman, some tall dame. And those dresses, they made some good calls with her.
They do. She's like she's almost like Betty Prunish with her
very
wardrobe.
Betty Prunish. Imagine that buddy comedy. Oh,
I need that.
Give me
I
that.
need that in my life.
Yeah,
now.
a versus film.
But now we go into the host lounge for seniors only because fucking Dot goes in there and throws out the freshmen or whoever that are in there, and they're like cheering to Happy Hog Night, and there's 2 other, I guess maybe underclassmen that they allow to stay in there so that they can tell them kind of what Hog Night was. It was a night of New Year's partying, and all the pledges had to get laid until something happened. a couple years before that almost got everyone kicked out. And Doc starts to launch into the story. He's like, oh, we almost got kicked out. We didn't get kicked out. He's like, I worked at this medical facility and I got a job as a janitor and I saw this like corpse lady and I decided I was going to do something special. And Alana comes barging in and she's like, yeah, really special. You put a kid in the hospital. And, it's just kind of this little confrontation. Alana and Mo throughout the film, or Alana and Doc, it's Doc, they butt heads a lot. But then it seems like she kind of sometimes doesn't mind him. Like she comes in and she's really angry at him. And then all of a sudden she like blows that party horn in his face and is real playful with him. I'm like, okay, make up your mind, Alana. Do you like this dude? Do you not? Like what's going on? And then she like sits with, what's his name? Her boyfriend, Mo. Again, couldn't have less chemistry if they tried, but they want to celebrate. You know what? I like Jamie Lee Curtis. I do. And I thought that this was one of her strongest performances. But kind of watching the film now, I think she's just kind of going through the motions. It's a very similar to the character she plays in Prom Night.
I mean, overall, I would say like, when it comes to just like acting alone, I actually think this is a pretty strong performance for her. Like, I think that, she's known as a scream queen for a reason because she portrays fear very well. She's got that distinct sound to her voice. And truthfully, I think this is one of her, at least when it comes to this genre specifically of the era, she's in quite a few of them. I think this is her best look. I think she's beautiful in this. I think she's really captivating here. In the sense of just like when she's on camera, it's all eyes on Jamie for a reason. And she is prominently used. I think one of my issues with like a Prom Night is like, yes, we get that fucking dance number, god damn it. But like there are certain times where like it cuts away for like long periods of time. And then when it finally comes up for the revelation at the end of Prom Night, like it feels like she's just kind of like learning. She's like catching up at the very end. She's like, oh, and now all eyes on me. I got to take on the killer. Here she is the heartbeat of the film. And like for the most part, like I like her moral compass. Like that decision she made at the beginning of the film seems very out of line for who she is. And I think the issue she has with Doc is because she thinks she's a shitty person. And I do not think she's consistent on that. I think you're right. I think there's some moments where it's like light and playful. And there's other times where he's physically manhandling her or like completely abusing her. I'm like, what the fuck is this relationship? Why are you comfortable just treating this girl this way? And on her end, like sometimes you're like light and playful with him. Like, yes, I understand it's your boyfriend's best friend, but also like you seem to vehemently dislike this guy. So I can't exactly understand what their background is, but we don't get any of it. I do need to say, like, in the sense of like the setup of getting on the train here, I can't imagine anything that seems more unpleasant than being crammed in a fucking train with a shit ton of like rowdy college students. This sounds miserable. And like you have this whole scene where the boys like kind of have their own car. And it does feel like for a second that it's like going to break out into a big gay, like gangbang. Like there's this weird like sexual energy. The guys are all kind of hot. They're all wearing like costumes, which feels very porny. The one guy's in that goddamn lizard costume. And like, I'm like, yeah, these guys are about to fucking like start jacking off. And then fucking Jamie Lee Curtis busts in and she kills the vibe. So I felt like there's this like weird, and I'm not looking for it per se. I'm just like, why is there's this weird homoerotic kind of energy between these guys?
Well, no. And I mentioned it earlier. I kind of alluded at it, especially between Doc and Mo.
Yeah.
Like there are two specific scenes I'm thinking of where I really get like, are they going there? And again, I'm not the type of person that looks for that stuff. Like I'm not like, oh, I'm just going to, these two hot guys are together, I'm going to think that there's some homosexual I'm not like that. But there's two things in this film where I'm like, weird.
They would rather like satisfy their best buddy. Like these two guys, this dynamic, they would rather like make sure like that their best friend is like happy and satisfied and that they're showing off in front of each other. They are more concerned about that at all versus the female counterparts that these guys have. Each of them has a girlfriend and they each are completely just like, they treat these girls like shit. But like when it comes to each other, it seems like to be all they fucking care about.
So after the little confrontation in the men's car, we cut to Mitchie walking back to her little train compartment. Now this seems, talk about claustrophobic. I am not sleeping in a fucking casket. That's what there's it's little compartments that are stacked on top of each other. That's about the size of a fucking casket that you're crammed into. That does not sound pleasant. But as she's walking down the corridor, and again, can we just talk about these shots of this train and how claustrophobic it looks, and the shots of the characters coming down the hallways of the train. I'm thinking this is where Jessie Ware got her spotlight video idea. Because it's
my God. Absolutely.
It's very, I love Jessie Ware. But no, so
great video.
Yeah, it is a great video. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Spotlight. But no, she finds Groucho Marx. She thinks it's Ed sitting in a compartment. He's like waving at her and stuff. And then he gets out and he's like ominously following behind her. And there's this moment like she's just talking away to him, and he gets to the bathroom and like the bathroom doors open. I don't know if you caught this, but he goes to like shove her in there. Like he's going to shove her in there, and this is going to be when she dies. What saves her is Jackson comes out in his lizard costume. So Mitchie decides to leave the boys alone, and Jackson's like, "Oh, Ed, that stunt you played with the sword outside the train, that was ace. That was better than anything that Doc does." And this Groucho Marx character is just kind of staring at them. And I love, like, it's creepy because you can see his eyes, and like there's a lot of expression behind these eyes. And this Groucho Marx character has been on the train because there's been a couple times where he's been snooping around, like watching the characters. Like he's like when Mitchie and Alana are having their conversation when they first get on the train, he's there in the background watching them. He's watching them in the car with the guys. So he's been around. And so basically Jackson asks him if he wants to have a drink, and Groucho Marx shakes his head yes. I can't think of a place I would less want to have a drink, Roger, than the bathroom. But that's where he takes him.
I mean, again, with the homoeroticism, which, I mean, again, maybe I wouldn't even be thinking this if it wasn't for the ending being very queer. And they're very, very queer.
Well, yeah. But it's not even a full-size bathroom. It's the size of an airplane bathroom. And they're like two guys, they're crammed in there face to face. And even Jackson makes the comment. He's like, "Oh, do you want to, like, what does he say? Do you want to tongue throat?" He said, basically, he's like, makes a comment. Are you wanting to kiss me? Like, because they're so close to each other.
Well, and like dude's in a fucking like skin tight green leather costume. Like, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It feels very, very, like there's this like weird kind of like sexual energy. But I like the whole bit leading up to this, because I am looking for moments here that I think like we're starting to capture my attention. And I do think like one of the most captivating aspects of this film is the idea that there's so many different costumes, that there's so many different identities for this killer to take on, that you start to almost like, you're second guessing yourself. Who's who at certain times. So this whole bit here where you see that she completely thinks that this is Ed, and he's following behind her, and he goes to grab her, but she opens the curtain. Like, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, I like this setup. And then, like, how you have this whole interaction with Jackson, and they go into the bathroom. I love that he turns his attention when he sees Jackson. He's like, "Oh, nope, I'm going to go after him instead." And then they get in the bathroom, and like, as soon as they get in the bathroom, it just like it just goes by. I mean, like, it happened so fast, and it is, again, a sign of things to come when it comes to the kills, but it feels super rushed. And I'm like, this feels like a moment. I get you're in a tight space, but like, this feels like a moment that you would really take advantage of this. And it, he grabs his head. He's wearing the mask, so you can't even see his facial reaction or his fear. He bashes it in the mirror, and it cuts, and like you see the glass break and everything. But there's something about it. You want to talk about disjointed? There's just something about this moment that, like, maybe it's the actor playing Jackson's reaction, how he responds, because the guy does lift his mask and he reveals himself to Jackson, and he's like, "It's you." But like, you don't get this big blood curdling response. He's just like, "No, wait." And he like hits his head into the glass, and it's just like, it's done. It's lame.
It's such a lackluster scene. I know you mentioned it earlier, and I'm going to mention it now just because I think it's worth mentioning. And I watched it after I watched this, because I watched this a couple times to get all my notes. And then I watched the remake. And I'm not talking about Train with Thora Birch, which started out as a remake, but shifted into something completely different, more like Hostel on a Train. I'm talking about the Tubi remake that came out in 2021. I will say, Roger, I know you said you haven't seen it. I think, like, if you're a casual fan of this film, I think you should check this out. I think you'd be surprised at A, how faithful the remake is to this film, and B, how it improves on the death scenes. The death scenes are the same, basically. In the remake, you get this exact scene, but it's amped up like 50 times. It's way more brutal. And it makes sense. Like when the conductor character finds the bathroom and it's covered in blood, it makes sense what actually happened. So I think the remake is worth checking out in that regard, because it does like improve some of the qualms I have with this film. I think the remake, kind of like the Slumber Party Massacre remake, I don't know if you saw that, but you can tell that the filmmaker behind it knew the source material and respected the source material, right down to like some scenes like being almost shot for shot things that happen. So I think I'm just putting that out for you. If you've never watched the remake, the Tubi Terror Train remake, I think it's worth a shot, worth a watch, definitely.
I've heard good things about it. And that's, I mean, I definitely, I intend, I think at this point, based off what you're saying, I more than ever want to watch this remake, because I think there's a lot of room to expand on the story.
I mean, again, so many scenes are faithful to the original, but then they throw a little twist at the end. But it's basically the same story. There's the same, I mean, things are like, I'm like, wow. When I watched it this time, I'm like, shit, you can tell the director of the remake watched this. Like the whole scene with her in that cage at the end, how they redo it in the remake. It's like, wow, they really knew what they were doing. They respected this film. But no, yeah. So Jackson's dead. Very lame. You get this moment back with Doc, Mo, and Elena and Mitchie. They're drinking and smoking in that seniors only car. Elena all this time has thought that Mo is the one whose idea this was. For some reason, it's important to her that it was his idea. And because he's like, oh, isn't this great, Elena? And she's like, yeah, I love this. And he's like, well, maybe you should marry me then. And she's like, yeah, Mitchie, you're right. Maybe I should marry Mo. And then Doc comes up and is like, no, Elena, you should marry me because this was my idea. And it causes like this huge blow up. Elena gets mad. It's like, how could you do this? You knew I wouldn't go to another one of his fucking parties. Is that why? She makes a big deal about it. And I'm like, I don't know why this matters so much. Like, why does it matter whose idea it was? I guess, I don't know if like he's trying to make something up to, I don't know. It's never really fully elaborated on like why she cares so much whose idea it was. It doesn't matter whose idea it was. You're on a train. And then B, like Mo and Doc seem really tight, like really tight friends. Mo seems to have a lot of respect for Doc, vice versa. Again, I think there's some homosexual undertones, but like Mo is just shitty to Doc throughout. He does some really shitty things. And it's almost like, isn't it almost like he's trying to sabotage Mo's relationship with Elena for a specific reason? Did you pick up on that? Like he's trying to break them up so that he can have Mo to himself, because there's a comment he makes here coming up that I raised my eyebrow big.
You're saying Doc to Mo, just to confirm, like the way that Doc handles his relationship. Yes.
Sorry. Yeah. What Doc seems to like really trying to be sabotaging throughout the whole film, Mo's relationship with Elena. And there's a moment he has a piece of dialogue with Mo that really makes me think he's doing it on purpose. And he basically wants Mo for himself. Take that however you want, whether it's gay, whether it's just like he wants this guy in his life because he's truly his best friend. He is trying to break up Mo and Elena throughout this whole film.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously. But again, you're not really given like a satisfying reason for it. Like all you know is they don't like each other. You do know that like he and Elena don't like each other. They already don't really like each other before the incident happens. Now they really don't like each other. And, a missed opportunity here, because there's a moment between earlier on between Mo and Doc, where it seems like he's kind of going to bat for Elena. And you really think that he's like, okay, but the one thing that he's going to stand up to Doc about is his girlfriend. And so you start to think, okay, out of the two of them, he's the stand-up guy. But that totally derails after this. Like, I mean, like, there's like a beat there where you think he's going to be like kind of like in her corner. And like after that, like he says some shitty things to her, and then he does some way shittier things to her. And like by the end of it, like it feels like he doesn't give two shits about her. So yeah, I don't even think like he really cares about Elena all that much to begin with. And I think that there's definitely like clear evidence that they are trying to intentionally fuck her over. Like, I mean, he wants to cheat on her, and fucking dude Doc wants to end the relationship completely, is what it feels like.
Yeah, it's real weird. I wish they would have elaborated on it a little bit more, because I think that's one of the things that this film could benefit from is less magic and more character relationship building. And because I think it takes away from obviously like the effectiveness of the death scenes surrounding all these characters who we should be able to, whether we want to root for them or want them to die, we should feel something for them. And the way that the film frames them, there's just not enough there, right, to really care one way or the other about them. Yeah. So Mo rushes out to comfort Elena, and he's like, why does it even matter like whose idea it was? We're on the train, she's like, it matters to me, and she's just being real pissy. And she's like, well, I guess you're right. She tries to go into the bathroom and she realizes it's locked, and she can like smell that somebody must have broken booze or something in there. So she gets all pissed off and runs out, and he chases after her. And when they leave, the bathroom unlocks and Groucho Marx emerges. And now, Roger, we get subjected to our first David Copperfield moment. Not worth really mentioning. Elena's running through the party train. She runs into the magician. He gets a coin from her, does a bunch of coin tricks, makes some peanuts come out. And you can tell right away she's smitten with him. And he's a good magician. He's a good illusionist, but she is smitten with him. I mean, I get it. He's looking good. Young David Copperfield, definitely dark, tall, handsome.
In a way, he almost looks like a hotter version of Kenny. Like his features, his strong jaw, his cheekbones.
That's interesting. That's on purpose. That's also one of the reasons why, the director latched on to the actor to play Kenny, because he did think that there was a striking similarity between him and David Copperfield, which comes into play later on in the film. So you got one magician on board, but then there's this whole other like side story where Harney is a magician as well, or he thinks he is, because he's trying to get like his coworker to pick a card. Coworker won't do it. There's that moment later where he's trying to do this lame ass card trick with Doc and Mitchie, and he's terrible. I don't know what the whole purpose of this was. So Mo apparently is caught up with Elena, because now they're sitting with Miss Het with those fucking pants pulled up past her boobs. That's all she's wearing. She's wearing these like trousers that are like literally pulled like Steve Urkel. They're pulled up like Steve Urkel. They're covering her saggy, milky boobs that we get to see here later on in the film. That's her costume. And then you get fucking Vanity playing Mary.
Spelled Merry if you look it up.
Yeah.
Because everyone's name here is fucking weird. So they can't even spell Mary right, these fucking weirdos. But you get introduced to kind of like a whole slew of these secondary characters between like the people on the train, and now you're getting these other friends who like this is really the first time you've encountered them. I feel it's amazing for such like a confined space how they keep like introducing more characters as the film goes along. Like there's even characters that show up towards the end that have had like no focus and all of a sudden are like taking care of Jamie Lee Curtis and everything. It's fucking weird. It's weird. But imagine, if you will, right now, if we were to cut back to the train station, brief moment. what's our girl's name?
With Maggie?
Maggie. Dramatic. Wheels out onto the fucking onto the stand or whatever it is, where the train pulls up. She's looking around in the night sky. Hello? She said, is anybody there? And then she sees the figure of the man who was run over by a train moments ago. And she has a moment of revelation where she's like, they're in danger. Like, imagine if they would have gone back to that moment. Just giving us one more beat with her. Because I feel like we're deprived. And I've got to say it. I got to go back.
We are deprived of Maggie. She deserved better in this film. But we find out that, Pet, I can't get over that name, Pet. I thought they were saying Pat at first, but it's Pet. It's really P-E-T. Pet.
Who names anyone Pet?
Oh, and Roger, you will be glad to know that in the remake, all the names are the same. In the remake, there is Pet, there's Mary, there's Mo, there's Doc. They keep the names exactly the same. That's how faithful they are. So you have a movie that comes out in 2022 that has a character named
Bring It On.
But Pat, yeah. So she's upset. They're up, and apparently Mary is Jackson's girlfriend. Although I don't know, are these people really couples?
You
because
never see them together.
Going off. No, and they're fucking each other like it's no big deal. But it does lead to Mo having a moment with Elena where he does apologize to her again, and she reveals, I guess, that she's mad because he let Doc set him up again. And she says, you are a much better. You're like worth 10 times of Doc. And your frat is stupid. And he gets all offended. And he's like, well, you're only mad because he made you do that prank with Kenny and you still can't get over it. And like, she excuses herself. Like it starts out like you think there's going to be a moment of tenderness between the two of them. And like, we're going to finally see them act like a couple. Nope. She calls his frat stupid. He's like, I like it. You're just a bitter old bitch. She like gets up and walks away. And that's that. Like, nope. We're not going to get any actual relationship between these two.
Yeah. Like they're bickering. Like that's what you get. They're bickering. And that's about it. Nobody actually likes each other on this fucking train, except for Pet and Mary hanging out, bemoaning Ed. Yeah, because apparently Pet in those fucking slacks up to her knockers, looking like a buxom blondo, like any blonde's gonna choose to go as a fucking weird looking nerd. Like no, she'd be dressed as like sexy little Bo Peep, and she's like, what costumer said let's make the hot gal. Let's put her in the least form-fitting outfit possible.
I do love the fact, Roger, as the movie goes on, she's drunker and drunker, and to the point where her fucking all of her clothes come off.
Oh my God, her little squeaky voice and everything. She's funny. It's just like she really is like, you cut back to her like every once in a while, but she has no real impact on the story until they need her to. And so, I mean, yeah, she's just there. Mary's just there. They're not serving a lot of purpose, but they still, like I said, charisma. Like I still enjoy like revisiting these characters. I like Vanity as Mary. I think she looks beautiful. Like at least she gets to do that magic show later. But really, like, what the fuck is Mary doing?
Showing her knockers. So yeah, well, Doc and Mitchie come out of a private car, so I think they just fucked. I don't know. And they run into Karn, who does that fucking stupid ass magic trick with them. Like this trick is like stupid. He's like, think of a card, and she's like, oh yeah,
I don't care.
Stupid, whatever. But
I don't care, old man. Go away. Drive the train.
He is in everyone's business, isn't he, Roger? Throughout this whole movie,
he is. He's doing anything but conducting. He's not a good conductor.
But they want to go into the bathroom. It's still locked. So now we cut to the 20-minute magic show.
Oh my God!
Pack
a lunch.
This goes on. This is like David Copperfield. You know, he had this in his contract. He's like,
my God,
I need to be able to show everything. I mean, he does a bunch of card tricks.
There's jazz hands.
Then he transitions.
There's like some choreography.
Oh, there's like he's looking good doing this. But then he brings out that broad, his assistant, and she's looking all elegant, and they do this dance number together.
Imagine being in that rehearsal. Like, get me that behind the scenes video of them fucking choreographing this number, those two, knowing who it is. But, and like, you know what I love even more though, is like the audience is thrilled. They are
they're loving
enamored. And you know, they're like extra excited. Because I swear, I look at these people and they're so excited. I don't even believe they know how to clap. Like these extras are just like so over exaggerated. I'm like, nobody cares this much, David Copperfield, about you making a woman levitate. Like, I've seen that so many times. That gal in the fucking bottle glasses, what is that called? With her real thick ass glasses, beer bottle glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Coke bottle glasses.
Coke bottle glass.
Gaping jaw.
Do you notice the one where? Do you notice the one where in the heavy set one where in the bearded lady get up, like a mask as a bearded lady? It's creepy as fuck. I'm like, that should have been one of the killer's disguises. I mean, you get a whole slew of them, and they're just clapping and hooting
over their heads. They're thrilled. They're like monkeys.
Even Jamie Lee is like had like, you know, the director's like, Jamie, look around and just like, you know, nod to the audience like, oh my God, isn't this great? And fucking Karn's there clapping and hooting and hollering. Yeah, and he levitates his assistant. I mean, this goes on and on and on and on before we finally cut to Doc and Mitchie finding Mo. And at this point now, Mitchie's wearing that fucking old man mask, one of the creepiest masks in the film. And she wants to go watch the magic show. So she leaves Doc with Mo. And Doc sits down next to Mo and he asks, she's still mad? He's like, yeah, she's still mad. And Doc says, well, you know, she'll get over it. And Mo says, Doc, I don't think so. Not this time. And that's when he looks at him and he's like, well, if she doesn't, you have me. And Mo like chuckles like, huh? And then he's like, no, I mean it. And I'm like, gay. This is
gay.
This is gay.
It's extremely gay. And those dimples, like, you know, like, I mean, they would make beautiful lovers, these two. The one's dressed as a goddamn macaw. Like, no straight man's wearing black spandex macaw costume. I mean, good God, we know who the top is here, and it's the one in the fucking choir robe, not putting any effort into it.
I think he's hot as hell, though. Oh my God,
I do. They're both very sexy, and I mean, but in a believable way. Like, you know, like Mo isn't like drop dead gorgeous, but like there's something about him and those goddamn fucking dimples. I get it, Jamie Lee Curtis. I get it.
But he also does. I like when he does a squawking and he'll talk in a parrot voice every once in a while. Squawk, I'll get you for this. Yeah, I mean, he's like.
Gay men do those things. Gay men.
Mm-hmm. So
these are gay men.
So he makes, we go back to the magic show, and you know, he makes his assistant disappear, and then fucking Mitchie shows up, and all of a sudden, like, Elena's concerned about Pet, thinking that Ed is missing. This comes out of nowhere because, like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it was that big. She like casually mentions it, but then like Alana has been with this conductor like numerous times throughout the film already. Now it's the time she's like, oh, by the way, my friend thinks her boyfriend was left back on the platform. And Karn's like, no, there's no way. It was empty. And then Mitchie comes up. She's like, oh, are you talking about Ed? I saw him. He's dressed as Groucho Marx. He's on board. And they're all okay with it. Okay, perfect.
I'll say, like, I think this is from me as like a first time viewer, the way I saw this scene unfold. And I think that, you know, I don't mind kind of this area of the film because I like the whole idea that like, oh God, like I can't find him anywhere. And the one girl's like, oh no, I saw him. So like everyone's like, oh wait, okay, so he is on the train. Like, I like that they're able to throw that in there for that element of mystery. And to me, it plays like she's already drunk. Like, that fucking broad is drunk. The moment you meet Pet, she's trashed. So she's like, my boyfriend, where's Ed? Like, that's what she's doing. That's all you get from this character. And Elena feels like she falls into like the responsible one. Like, she's kind of falling into that mold. So like, if anything, it just seems like maybe she's concerned for her drunk friend is how it's kind of reading to me. They go to the conductor. They go to find what's the weird girl's name? What's the name that I hate? Mitchie? No, Mitchie. Fucking Mitchie. I fucking hate the name so much. but they encounter her and she verifies, I've seen the mask. So I like this little bit here, but I don't know. Like it feels, again, it's starting to feel very disjointed at this point because there's just so many little ongoing little plot threads that go in really weird directions that don't feel natural. Because what you're starting to get with Pet now, like what I'm getting is she's concerned about Ed. She's upset. She's mad, maybe. But then all of a sudden, this whole thing that's coming up here with her turning her attention to Mo, like, I don't know. Does that seem like, doesn't that feel kind of weird? Doesn't that feel like a weird character arc for her character for not knowing anything about her?
It feels like a weird character arc for all of them because
Exactly.
what this leads to is basically like Mitchie and Elena go off to do their own thing, and Mo and Dot go into the bar car, and Pet and Mary go in and sit with them, and Pet's like, oh, you should have watched The Magician. He was so good, and Doc says, oh, I don't like magicians. And then they start making like really weird like sexual innuendos towards the girls, and it leads to basically them taking the girls and like going off with them. I mean, it's like, where did this come from?
Exactly.
These two guys, like, I mean, the comments they're making are, come on, ladies, we need to take you back into private. We're doctors. We can give you some injections.
Oh my God. That fucking, like the gynecology, like they're what was, he makes the line about like that they're, like private gynecologist or like what was it? Like emergency gynecologist. And she's impressed with.
Doc won an award, best supporting pap smear. But they take these girls out and I mean, they go off with them. And you do see that Mitchie sees them leave with the girls. She doesn't say anything to Elena and she acts like it doesn't bother her. She just wants to stay and dance. It's really, really weird.
This whole bit here, this is where it starts to fall apart for me. Everybody seems to become unlikable at this point moving forward. Nobody does anything that is benefiting anyone but themselves. The supporting characters, the leading characters, and nobody's innocent of it. Because even fucking Jamie Lee fucking Curtis is kind of smitten with the goddamn magician Ken. Like, don't tell me that she's not off there flirting and everything too. So everyone is literally kind of stabbing each other in the back. And just, it makes me so mad. I have such a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. So the guys take Mary and Pet down the corridor. Mary is at this point, she is shit-faced. And Doc is trying to get her into the bathroom because they think she's going to throw up, but the bathroom is still locked. Just then Karn shows up and is like, oh, it smells like it's alcohol. So they go into the teens or the college students go into the room. Karn is like knocking on the bathroom door. Is anybody in there? You better answer me or I'm going to come in. So he does get his key and unlock the bathroom door. And I think the film makes a really interesting choice here because basically Karn finds Jackson dead. Like he's on the floor. Blood is everywhere. The mirror is broken. He's like, oh my God. And, he bends down, touches the body. The throat is full of blood. I do think that, his reaction is a little muted.
Understated.
Yeah, like I would think, I think that would be a bigger deal. Like he'd be like trying to get everyone into one car. And, I know he does go back to the car, but even when he goes back into the car with his co-conductor, he seems very like just chill about it. He's like, hey, do you got anything I can put in this coffee? And his partner's like, why? What's wrong? He's like, oh, there's a dead boy in the bathroom. It's very like he's just talking about finding a piece of trash on the floor. He's like, yeah, oh, he's dead. All right. I guess we better call Walter and see if we can get the train stopped. And he calls Walter and Walter tells him, well, no, we can't go back. Can't back the train up because there's another train behind us. So we have to keep going. And he's like, okay, I guess we just keep going straight. But like his reaction to finding a dead, bloodied, murdered person on his train is so like you said, understated. I'm like, wow. Okay.
When that happens like several times, that's another bone I have to pick with this film is like, there's a lot of moments where people's reactions to things just do not feel like big enough. They don't feel like there's not enough panic. Like a lot of the things I would want from a film like this would be like building, developing panic, and that's just what helps that suspense naturally kind of form. And I don't feel like you get a lot of that. Like you don't get true fear out of a lot of these people until you get Jamie Lee Curtis in the end here. When you do have moments with bodies being discovered and so forth, or people realizing it's the killer and he makes the move on them, it's always understated. Nobody really sells the moments of fear for me in this movie, aside from Jamie Lee Curtis, who was always a pro.
Yeah, absolutely. So Karn gets Charlie and goes back to the bathroom where like some girls are trying to get in. He shoos them off. He's like, Charlie, I hate to make you do this, but you're gonna have to have a look. They open up the bathroom, and now it's the bathroom is spotless. I want to know how that happened. Because it doesn't seem like a lot of time has passed. And again, this bathroom, Roger, think about this. This bathroom has been Grand Central Station all night. All night, people have been trying to. And so you're telling me that the killer had time to sneak away from what they're supposed to be doing, which is going on as we speak, undetected, clean up, wipe up this bathroom that was full of blood, where the rags went. There is a moment later on that doesn't make much sense. I'm like, come on, there was way more blood than that. And then hide Jackson's body somewhere, change into his lizard suit, and then lay on the bathroom floor so that when Karn comes back with Charlie, it just looks like he's on the floor drunk. And he gets up, and Mitchie comes and gets him and thinks it's Jackson and kind of leads him away. She's like, oh, we're sorry. He must not be able to handle his alcohol. Jackson, you're sloppy tonight. Again, logic, I doubt.
You also have to factor in there the time frame, Troy, of cutting a man's hand off. Because lest we forget that it is revealed, because like there is one thing to note. Jackson is black, and the individual that's found in the costume technically is white. Now, they are in a very elaborate lizard-esque costume. It's like a lizard man. It's like Thriller meets a lizard is what this costume is, with a very elaborate headpiece. That you can technically, there are eye holes. Like, don't tell me that you looked there and didn't notice that this is a white guy, but okay. But the hand, you do see one of the hands, and it is black. And so they naturally think, okay, clearly this is that character. They have no reason to question it because of that. But then it's revealed here in a moment that the reason that the hand is that color is because not only has he disrobed this body and hidden it, he's also managed to sever the hand off of it and use it as a prop hand for themselves. So like that is a lot of skill getting that done in that time frame in general, let alone being restricted to a very tiny bathroom that you just mentioned has constant foot traffic. Like there's no fucking way this fucker is also fucking putting on a magic show. Let's be fucking real. No fucking way. There's no way. But somehow they get it done.
And because this killer is away from what they're supposed to be doing for long stretches of time, including going into a compartment with, can we say Mitchie? So you're right. Like even Mitchie's kind of I guess she's trying to get revenge on, she knows that Doc and Mo went away with Pet and Mary. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to fuck Jackson. So she gets him into a compartment. And then like, as they're in this compartment together, like actually Mo, Doc, Mary, and Pet walk by and they're commenting. Mary's like, oh, I bet you Jackson's with another woman. I just feel like he's with another woman. And of course, like Mitchie is like listening to all this, and does it deter her? No. She's like becoming onto Jackson big time. The lizard, she thinks it's Jack. She's like, oh, we've never been together. And you need to we need to go at it. We need to see what we're missing. And she's like asking him to feel her up. He's like, yeah, kiss me, feel me up, put your hands on me. And he puts his flipper on her, and she's like, no, can you take your flipper off? And this is when he takes the glove off and touches her chest with the hand and then pulls away. And she's like, oh, you know what they say, cold hand, warm heart. And then she looks down, and it's like this severed hand, Jackson's severed hand is laying on her chest. And before she can scream, like he grabs her mouth, but then it cuts. Like, we don't see what happens. We see aftermath, but goddamn, like, why can't we see a kill?
I'm so mad at this character in this moment because she's not done really a single thing here that's kind or nice to anybody. Like literally, like she helped set up that fucking cruel prank. Like, she convinced fucking Jamie Lee Curtis to do it. And now she's on this train just being fucking shitty to people. And then she tries to fuck this girl's boyfriend, who is like someone who I'm assuming she's friends with. Like it's just, there's no care for anybody else in her universe. It's just totally about her. And like, but that's all I know about her. I do not know anything else about this girl at all, other than she makes like shitty decisions. So this whole bit of her hiding him in the bed and everything, like, I mean, you want this girl to die. You're doing something shitty. And then you fucking follow it up with nothing but a goddamn hand to the mouth and awkwardly executed at that. It's not even like she's going to scream and the hand like fucking like grabs her really fast. It like, it slowly moves in towards her mouth and grips it. And it's like, I mean, like, she could fight back. Like, to me, she could make a commotion in that tiny compartment, thrash, move around, kick something, and people would be alerted. And it's just, to not show it feels very lazy. Very lazy.
Yeah. I don't, it's baffling that the special effects in this film are pretty lackluster. But now we go back to the magician. He is watching Uncle Sam, the Prez, making this like speech to, if you listen to it, it's really racist. But then Elena shows up and sees the magician and she's like, oh, I liked your show. And then he does a whole nother magic show just for her with this goddamn rose.
Oh my God. He's laying it on thick. And like, when is David Copperfield not mysterious in this film? When he's walking around, he's not just like walking around. He's like looming in the shadows, sauntering. He's like just like sashaying around and looking all like fantastical. Like, he's always like playing this character, which I guess you do when you're a magician, but it seems very focused on like Jamie Lee Curtis. And it seems like he's very much like trying to seduce her. He's like almost like a vampire in a way.
Well, let's lay it out. Like, what it is he's the huge red herring in this film. And now I saw this film for the first time when I was, probably in elementary school. So like I've always known like the reveal, but I kind of envy you because I would have loved to have watched this film for the first time now in my life. And because I'm so curious when we get to the climax to find out, like, did you peg it? Did you have did you figure it out? Because like for me watching it now, like I never once buy that David Copperfield is like Kenny. And that's what they're really trying to paint in this film. Like that's where they're trying to lead the viewer that, it's Kenny. And it's like, no, it's not. They look nothing alike. Yes, they may have similar facial structure, but they could not physically look any different when you get down to their facial features. And we'll talk about that. But like, so I'm just curious. I can't wait till we get to the end to see to pick your brain and see did you figure this out? So Doc shows up and interrupts Elena and the magician literally just like disappears. And now Doc does something really shitty because he tells Elena, hey, Mo wants to talk to you. He's back in the car, the host car. Go talk to him. He wants to make up. He doesn't want to fight with you. Now he knows that Mo is there with Pet. He is basically getting Elena to go catch Mo with Pet. Again, second time in the film he's tried to like break them up.
Like it's his main focus. And like, I don't understand how she could even be in the room with him because it seems very clear, like when he talks to her, how demeaning he is, that he's not a fan of her. But, yeah, I mean, like it's very intentional what he's doing. It's planned. He's scheming. And what's really, really weird, if we're going to talk about those fucking queer undertones, is like out of everyone's response to what's going on here is how Mo handles finding out later what you just said, that he is manipulating this. Mo becomes privy to this. He becomes very much aware of it, and he doesn't seem to fucking care that he's doing it. Like, it is just such a weird relationship.
Mo cuts Doc so much slack. Like it's like, I mean, it's like they're in a relationship. It's like you're with somebody that you know is shitty to you, but you stay with them because you know, quote unquote, love them, or ultimately what it is you stay with them because you're comfortable. And that's how it feels, because he's so antagonistic towards Elena for specific things, but he's so forgiving of Doc, that it really does. And I hate to say it, because I don't want to be one of those people that are like, oh, every movie is gay that has two characters that are, but this, there's definitely some eyebrow raising things between the character of Mo and Doc in this film, particularly how like Doc responds to what happens to Mo. It's like, wow, like it's way over the top. So we cut to Mo and Pet in the car. She's drunk, dancing away, trying to get Mo to join her. Now I think Mo has realized that, you know what, I'm in over my head. I should not have this girl in here, because he's wanting nothing to do with her. Even when like she drops down those fucking trousers and her wobbly, milky boobs are bouncing up and down, he takes one look at him and he looks repulsed. Did you see the look he gives? He's like, oh, it turns away real quick.
Yeah.
But now the magician is performing a magic trick specifically for Doc, because Doc does not like the magician, has said many times he hates magic. And some of the magician does this magic trick where Doc has wrote his name on a card. He puts paper over it, takes out a pocket knife, because Doc's like, oh, this is elementary stuff. He's like, oh, really? I'm going to prove to you. He drops the pocket knife, pulls it up. The card that it stabbed is Doc's card. And, you know, you can tell Doc's pissed, and the magician tosses the card at him and gives him like that really ominous look as he's holding the switchblade. It's like, oh, can you make this guy seem even... They're just trying to make him seem like he's ominous.
I'm sorry, I don't want to keep fucking beating this very dead horse, but how long is this fucking magic show? Like, literally, like, I'm thinking hours are going by.
There's another one comes,
and there's a point where Doc is like you fucking saw. Like, he screams, like, I mean, he screams something. He doesn't say that, but he like shouts something, and there's like this like moment of weird tension between them. I'm like, I fucking get it. I would be like, can you please stop so we can utilize this space for socialization, or I don't know. Like, why are you taking up so much fucking time on what I'm assuming is only a few hours of being on this train? Like, it just seems so all-consuming.
But also, I kept thinking, where is this train going? Like, is it just traveling down the track for like 2 hours and then just turns around and goes back? I don't know. It just seems, it doesn't seem. I just was curious, where's the destination for this train? I guess it's you know, I don't know. So Karn comes walking through the cars when all of a sudden, like, Mitchie's hand falls out of the compartment, and he notices it and he pulls the curtain back, and she is laying there. Her throat has been slit. We never saw it happen, but now her throat is slit. Very, very like lazy, uninspired effect. I do think it's an interesting choice that they do make Karn the one that finds all the body. Like, Karn is finding these bodies, but then on the flip side of it, Roger, is the problem that his reactions are never like, I'm sorry. I would be freaking the fuck out. This is the second body I have found. I would be like, we're stopping this fucking train immediately. There's a He couldn't give a shit less. Like, her shoe falls off. He picks that up. He starts walking. He runs into Elena, and he's like, oh, do you know whose shoes this is? And she's like, yeah, it's my friend Mitchie's. And she's like, oh, I'll take it. Thank you. He's like, no, ma'am, you come with me. She's like, why? What's wrong? And he's like, you just need to come with me. And she goes, she's like, I need to get my boyfriend. I need to get Mo. So she starts like pounding on the door that Mo is supposed to be in, the host car. He is in there with Pet. And, you know, he's like, be quiet. You need to be quiet. And he hears Elena say to Karn, I know he's in there. Doc told me he was going to be in there. And he's like, oh, you hear Mo say, Doc, that motherfucker. He makes some like comment. Karn takes Elena into a different car, and she's like, "What's going on? What's going on? I need to find Mitchie." And he's like, "No, you can't find her. She's dead." Like, that is like the last thing he should have told this girl. Like, just don't tell her anything. Get everyone off the fucking train. Like, why are you freaking this poor girl out? Like, just tell, oh, your friend's dead. Like, but we're still traveling. We're still taking this train on the tracks to the party, but your friend's dead. Like, the decisions made in this film are, I don't know.
It is his fucking responsibility to, I mean, first body in, everyone on that train should have been fucking informed there's been a murder. We have to, we're changing course. But he makes the decision to be very, like, discreet about it. And I'm like, this is, like, extremely irresponsible. And then for, like, the second body, like, when he finds body number 2, again, like, that reaction, it's so understated. Like, it's a bummer because, like, with a body reveal, at least if you're gonna cut away from the kill, you better give me a moment where that reveal is something impactful. And this couldn't be any less exciting if they tried. Like, her hand falls out, you feel like you're gonna get some moment, and he opens up the curtain and you see her, and she's there, and she's dead, and her throat's cut, and it's fine, I guess. It's not that great. And then it cuts to him, and he's just like, his mouth's like slightly agape, and he's like, oh. And he's like looking around like, anyone else see it? Oh, like immediately it's his mentality to hide it. And I guess he's trying to like prevent panic, but I'd be like, no, panic. There are people dying. Someone is killing people on my train.
Yeah. And I don't know if they're trying to portray him as like, oh, he's a hardened old train conductor. Nothing bothers him. But like, I don't know. It doesn't work for me. Yeah. So Mo leaves Pat and he goes to confront Doc. Doc is now still watching this fucking magic show, Roger. This magic show is still going on. And so Mo goes to Doc and he's like, have you seen Elena? And Doc's like, no. And he's like, you liar. Yes, you have. I need to talk to you now. And Doc's like just really dismissive of him. At the same moment, like we do get a scene of Elena finding Mitchie's dead body. Like, the conductor takes her back to the compartment and lets her look at a dead body, Roger. Like, lets her find her, like, look at her dead. I'm like, this dude has made so many bad. This is the guy running the train? Like, wow.
Well, at least I feel like they're like, okay, we need to get Jamie Lee Curtis to find this body because someone needs to start fucking reacting here. And at least she falls to the ground in those, God, you finally see those boots.
Oh, I love those boots.
High brown leather boots. She looks good. But finally, she starts reacting like a normal human and, screaming and crying and panicking as
she has that breakdown, and he's comforting her. And all I thought about was, Roger, how many low-budget slasher films can you say you have two Oscar-winning actors on screen together comforting each other? Because we all know Jamie Lee Curtis went on to win an Oscar a couple of years ago for Everything All at Once or whatever that fucking movie was called. But like, here you go. Like, you don't see this you're not going to see this in like Slaughter High. You're not going to see two Oscar winning actors. But I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Knowing that Ben, Jamie Lee Curtis is a future Oscar winner. You have these two budding up together. Can you imagine if they would have known that in the future, Jamie was going to have her Oscar too. Whoa. But, no. So yeah, she does have that huge breakdown, but okay. So back at the magic show, we need to talk about this. Mo has forgiven Doc quite easily. He's sitting next to him. We get this magic show still going on, Roger, because David Copperfield calls Mary Vanity up to the stage and has this whole elaborate thing where he puts a sheet on. She puts a sheet on him. She picks some numbers with her fingers. And when she pulls the sheet away, he's gone. He's disappeared. And he's in the back behind everybody. He's like, it was 7. In the meantime, you have this kind of running gag with Doc and Mo pretending to be sleeping, right? Because they're snoring real loud. Doc's even heckling him, and they're just being assholes. And so David Copperfield, the magician, goes back up on stage. He's like, well, you know what? I had the moment earlier when I made my assistant disappear. Well, now I have to make her reappear. So watch. He puts the sheet over himself and then yanks it off, and it's the female magician or the female assistant looking all, look in her like 5th dress of the night. I mean, form-fitting gowns, sequin gowns. Come on, she's ready for RuPaul. We know that.
She's got that great like red choker that almost looks like she's bleeding from the throat. Like upon the first reveal, I thought her throat was cut. I was like, oh my God, like she's dead. Oh, everyone's good. But no, she's just glamorous. But someone else is dead, and
we need to talk about this.
We got to talk about it, Troy, because like I'm trying to think in my mind, if I were to know magic, where would certain individuals have even been to be able to execute what transpires? Have you any theories?
No, I forgot that this happened. I will say, like, I forgot that this happened. This is how Mo dies. So like when I watched it, the first time a couple days ago, I thought I missed something. I literally did. I was like, oh shit, did I miss something? I rewound it. And it's like, okay, I'm watching it. I don't see where this happens. I'm rewinding it again. Like, where could this have happened? Like let's be clear. The car is full of people. Mo is very well alert through most of this. I was trying to pinpoint the moment where it looks like he is dead. I don't know. So what we're talking about is basically like after the show, Doc tries to get Mo to leave with them, and Mo falls over, and Doc realizes that Mo is bleeding, and so he is freaking out. He takes Mo and is like dragging him through the train. Like nobody's helping because they all think it's a prank. Like these kids think everything's a prank. Like I've never seen a bunch of more just dismissive people in my life. Like this, nobody's helping. They're actually laughing. They think it's funny.
And he's screaming. I mean, he is shrieking like a woman screaming for help.
But he runs into Karn and Elena and like screaming. He's like, come on, buddy, come on. And what ultimately happens is he pulls Mo's shirt up, and it's revealed that Mo has been stabbed in the heart. Like, but when did this happen? Like, Roger, do you have any ideas? Like, did she shoot him with an arrow? Like, when did this happen? I don't know.
I'm thinking it had to have been somehow in the moment when we said we're going to save it to the end. We're going to try to be discreet here, but come on. We all fucking know. She whips off that fucking sheet. And I wonder if it's like something like, is there something there maybe? Is there something in that moment? Or is he technically already dead yet? Did she do it to him before she appeared in the sheet? Like, was she planted somewhere? Like with magic, like there's got to be some explanation for where she is ready to jump out with that sheet to make that event, that magic happen. Where is she? She's somewhere. But like, I would assume it would have to be something like a gun. I don't know. Did she ever have a gun?
No, but how did nobody see it though? Like, there's people sitting next to both of them
everywhere.
Like, how did nobody see this happen?
Yeah,
I don't know what happened, but I also want to highlight that how distraught Doc is about. Yeah. He's more distraught about it than Elena. Elena's just like, oh, this sucks, and Doc is like having a fucking breakdown.
I'm a doctor, god damn it. Like, oh, he is going through all of the emotions. He's definitely mourning his lover.
Well, he gets up and he pulls the emergency brake, but the train doesn't stop. And Karn's like, what the fuck? Walter should have put the brakes on. So Karn runs up to the front of the conductor car, and Walter's not there. And so Karn has to pull the brake himself. And you get that fun shot of like everyone like dancing and having a good time until the train screeches to a halt and they all like fall over.
Oh my God, there's that band that looks like the human version of the Electric Mayhem from the Muppets with that broad with like the long hair. Oh God, everyone's panicking. So that, yeah, it's fun. And I'm thankful that like we have a beat here where the train stops, because like you are on the train the whole fucking time. And it is a lot of compact rooms. Like everything's very tight. So to get off the train here for a second, I think is a nice breath of fresh air. Literally.
I mean, it's realistic at least. At least fucking finally Karn's doing something right, trying to get people to safety instead of just staying on this train where he knows people are being murdered. But like, he does find that bloody hat that is Walter. So apparently Walter has been killed.
That's not satisfying.
No, I know.
I want to see Walter either get killed or be found, but just his hat.
His bloody hat. But he also gives the fire axe to his two porters and is like, go search the train. outside. I mean, everyone's outside in the snow. It's cold. It looks cold. Karn's out there demanding everyone take their masks off. And this guy like grabs Doc and is like, if this turns out to be another one of your pranks, I'm going to kick your ass. Karn's like, get away from him, get away from him. And then Alana goes up to Doc and she's like, Doc, what do we all have in common? Kenny Hampson, it's your prank. And Doc says, oh no, nobody would kill somebody over a prank. And she's like, Doc, he was sick. I went to the hospital to visit him after it happened and they wouldn't let me see him because they said he killed somebody. I'm like, what?
Can you expand on
Yes,
this?
that's what I want to.
Could you tell me, first of all, could you have told me upon the initial visitation to even tell me you're going? Let's start there. Let me know you're going to see the guy that, we did this horrible thing to and put into a hospital. Let me know you're going. When you find out that this guy is quote unquote sick, because that's all they say, he's sick. He could have leukemia. I mean, like he's sick, and that's a broad term. So sick, I mean, I'm guessing of the head, but that's like, that's keeping it very simple. He's sick, and he had killed someone before. Who? When? I didn't personally take away, when I met this guy, I did not take him as a murderer. So I'm guessing, did it happen after the great sheet accident?
It's not explained. And she's like, oh, it may have been an accident, but he did kill somebody. This was the most, okay, go back to the beginning. This is the most meek, mild person you could ever imagine in your fucking life. Like, he doesn't even have a line of dialogue in the beginning. He's just sitting there like with an all shucks look on his face the whole time. Kind of almost like a mute Marty Ranson from Slaughter High. Like that type of nerdy character. So like, I'm like, what? He killed somebody? Like, what? Like, where is this coming from?
Well, what caused him to kill? I mean, like, okay, he's sick. Fine. But like, what was the scenario? Who's the person? Did he kill his mother? Did he kill a random stranger? Like, I need some exposition here. And I'm getting so much unnecessary, like, nonsense going on with these people. I'm learning all about trades and all this magic. I can perform magic after seeing this film, but I don't know shit about it, the events that have like actually taken place that matter, and I should know so much more about.
Well, Doc's reaction is like, he grabs her and like pulls her back on the train. Like, he's like, come with me. She's like, no. And he's like yanking her. And then he like literally, Roger, he throws her, like violently throws her into that fucking car and like locks the door. He locks them in. He's like, we're not going anywhere.
So he's like trying to help her, but like in a very aggressive and cruel way. But his intentions are to keep them both safe, I guess. Yes?
Well, yeah, because, yeah, that's what he says. And I buy it because he like breaks the lock so that the door won't open. And then you get the two porters that come out to the group and tell everyone that they've searched the train and nobody's on there so they can get back on. People are like, no, there's a killer. And like Connor's like, you got to get back on or you're going to freeze to death. But yeah, she's like screaming. She's like, we need to get help. We need to figure this out. And he says, he tells her, you're dumb. You're so slow. So he goes and gets the yearbook why would you have a yearbook on the train is kind of my first question, but they have it. And he like opens it up to a page that reveals that Kenny Hampson liked magic. So they both make the conclusion that the magician is Kenny. Now, can we stop and like highlight the fact that both of these characters have been like face to face with this magician? Like, they've looked at him and like, I'm sorry, Roger, he does not look like Kenny. Like, how much plastic surgery do you think this dude had to end up looking like David Copperfield? Because while they have dark hair, they both have dark hair, dark eyes, maybe the same similar like cheek structure. They do not physically look in the face anything alike.
Well, I mean, yes, I hear you on that. I think for me, like David Copperfield almost looks like an exaggerated Kenny to me. Like they I think leaned into some of the features even more. Like same kind of shaggy haircut, the strong jaw structure and everything. Like I think it looks like if he had his face fully redone, what he could possibly look like. But that's where I thought they were going with it, and that's personally what I thought. It was gonna be like a David Boreanaz in Valentine. He had so much plastic surgery; he looks like a new person. What I am baffled by is the person who ends up being Kenny has technically, once you realize it, has had no work done, and so this whole time they've been in front of this person in glamorous dresses. Let's just fucking say it, and a shag wig, and they've just been fine with it, and they've not picked up. Like, I mean, it's not like this gal's face is beat for the gods. Like, she's wearing like a strong lip. She's got, she's rouged, she's painted, but she ain't. I mean, she doesn't look like Trixie fucking Mattel. She just looks like a gal. She looks like a Vanna White in a way, And I'm like, I'm sorry, Troy, I've seen you as Elle Driver, and I'm like, look, you look great, but Troy, I saw that. I looked at you and I said immediately, I was like, you are clearly Troy in Day Drag. And so for me, but hey, I didn't pick up on it. So I guess there you go. But for me, having been with this guy and apparently traumatized him to the point that they put him into a hospital and made him sick, or so they say, or so rumor is. Yeah. I don't know. I just can't believe that they wouldn't have picked up on that. But weird.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point, but I'm more like, I don't know. I know what they're trying to get at. Oh, he changed his appearance, but goddamn, there's no way. And plus, you can't change your personality. I don't know. It just seems really weird that they automatically really think the magician is Kenny. And Alana wants to go warn everybody. She's like, he's still out there. We need to go warn everybody. Our friends are out there. He's probably out there with the friends. And Doc's like, well, good. Hopefully he is. He's like, I'm staying here. So Alana's like, you know what? You're a fucking coward. She goes to leave the car. He tries to stop her, but she gets out in the hallway, and immediately he locks her out. And there's that figure coming towards her. And she's screaming to be let back in, and he does not let her back in. Luckily, the figure is just Charlie. He's like, lady, what are you doing? Come with me. So now you get this whole scene with Doc in the car. He sees that there's he's starting to freak out because he sees there's a closet door. So he gets up and checks the closets. There's nothing in there. He's grabs this metal thing and starts bashing the top of the closets in case anybody's up there. And then he goes to sit down, and he sits down, and he notices across from him is another seat that has a opening under it, like a bed, underneath the bed. And he's like, oh shit. So he gets up to start walking over there. All of a sudden, something, the hand reaches out and grabs him and trips him. How long has this person been under here? Nobody's missed this person. The magic show. I don't know. This person, they would have to have known that they were going to go back into this particular room, right? And be nobody, you're just under this bench for an hour? I don't know. But then it's his whole reaction. He runs over, tries to get out. The door, he broke the lock, so the door will not open. And then all of a sudden the hand comes on his shoulder. And he looks at the hand, and we see that it has a ring on it and painted fingernails. And he immediately, Roger, he's like, Mitchie. Mitchie did not have, did Mitchie have black painted fingernails? I did not notice.
I thought, was it maybe is it her ring maybe? I mean,
I don't know, but he's I don't know. He's oh, it's just all been just a prank. Now, this is the character, Roger, that if you were going to show, if you want to show an on-screen death, this should have been the one. But what happens? The person grabs him by the hair, lifts him up. We get a pocket knife, and it cuts.
Oh,
that's it.
Man, I was so fucking pissed off. I was so pissed. And I thought it was interesting, looking at it now, the nail polish, watching, I was like, that's weird. That's a clue. But because I was like, why would it have nail polish? So yeah, now, looking back on it in retrospect, it's this is one of those things if you're piecing things together, it could only be so many people because he can't put that nail polish on and take it off. But I don't know. I mean, did Mitchie have nail polish on? She was in that all black ensemble wearing that old man mask. So maybe, possibly. But for me, if I'm sitting here and a hand just lands on my shoulder, regardless of femininity or whatever it may be, say a male hand goes on my shoulder, I'm not supposed to be oh, my boyfriend. I'm going to be oh, whose fucking hand's on my shoulder?
Well, especially a hand that just grabbed you from under a bench and tripped you
Yes.
like violently.
Yes.
Like I'm not gonna think that was Mitchie.
No. I'm gonna be like, why did you just fucking do that? Why were you under my goddamn seat waiting for me?
So you're in. And so he did not. So he thinks it's a joke. So he, being a doctor, as he said, he just saw Mo dead. Like, so you're trying to tell me he thought that was a joke? He's not a good enough med student to realize that, if he thought it was a joke, that this was a joke. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. His reaction, again, the reaction so weird, and then we don't see it. We do see Elena rush out. She runs into that goddamn Prez in his Uncle Sam outfit, and she gets Karn to tell him that she knows who it is, the magician. So they rush to the magician's quarters. The magician is in there talking to that female. She gets a whole mouthful of dialogue in this scene, Roger. I was surprised that they let her have some dialogue, which is great. But like, knowing the film, I was like, oh wow, they give her a lot to say. She's bitching about having to be out in the cold. They made me get out. He's like, well, I told you to stay inside. And she's like, no, they made me get out. I was scared that wacko was going to jump out and get me. And then she grabs that sword. She's like, maybe I should have used this on him. And she's like laughing.
I mean, this whole little bit with her, like, even though it doesn't make fucking sense, because she was just...
But where'd she come from?
Like, has nobody noticed? I mean, she wasn't outside. I don't know. I mean, like, and I get what they're doing here, and it's kind of working, like, because he thinks she was outside. Nobody's even thinking to look for her outside right now. Everyone's looking for, the other student. So they're probably not even thinking about this fucking random gal. But I mean, how did she know to just wait under that fucking bench? How did she know just to wait under that fucking bench this whole fucking time? It baffles me. It does. And it really feels like, when you're saying like, who's going to get a kill, like a proper kill to really send them off. Not only like with this being a wasted kill because it cuts away, but it also feels just like such a lackluster moment for this character. Like he rips this room apart, and then he has this moment where he has this reveal, but he feels like such a throwaway kill. And he is the one that was behind all of this. Like you mentioned, Troy, like I feel like if this guy is trying to get vengeance on anybody, it should be this fucker. It should be extra satisfying.
This should have been the one that was like, this was your target. And I get Alana would be your target too, but like Doc is the one that set this up. You know it. So they get the conductor, Karn, and they go to the car where she left Doc. Karn goes right in, opens it up, and we do see the room is bloody. Blood is everywhere. He like looks around. He goes to the closet. He hears something, so he opens it. Doc's body rolls out of the top compartment. So so this person also lifted up dead weight, because Doc is seems like a pretty burly guy, and put him like 5 feet above him in a compartment. So the body rolls out onto the floor, and then like you hear like more rumbling, and the conductor Karn looks up, and all of a sudden that head falls out onto the floor, and we do get a shot of it for like a brief second. And it looks nothing like the actor. And then you're right, it looks like it's been like rotten it like has this like green tint to it. Like, I'm like, what is this? Was this like a leftover head from another production or something?
It looks like a like comedic, like shrunken head from like the Beetlejuice fantasy world. Like, it does not look at all natural, especially for having like just been decapitated minutes ago. Like, this thing is like green and withered, and like I'm like, what is it? I was like, who the fuck is that? I was like, oh, he was decapitated. That's him. And it's they knew it was bad. So they show it for like 2 frames, and then they're gone. They know to cut really quick, but yeah, it is a rough fucking effect.
You get Karn going to the female assistant and like luring her out by telling her that the coffee machine's working. And again, they give her a lot of dialogue here in these moments. And like, she's like, oh, hey, Ken, I'm going to get, apparently the magician's name is Ken. Because she's like, Ken, the coffee machine's working. I'll bring you a cup. Okay. And like, she's like, what's this all about? And like, they leave the car, and he immediately like chains the door locked. And it's like, this is for your own good. But she doesn't seem to question it. She's like, oh, okay, whatever. In the meantime, Elena has been taken to another isolated sleeper car. And that kindly porter dude is giving her like blankets and pillows. And he's like, you rest in here. I have this axe. I'll be right outside the door. so she can get some rest. Back in the main party car, everyone now, apparently everyone has found out that people are dead, and the magician is the prime suspect because they are all outside the magician's quarters trying to get in. And you get that fucking hot guy that comes up. He's like, to Karn, he's like, "Sir, get out of the way." And Karn's like, "Oh, what are you going to do? You want to kill him?" He's like, "Yeah, he killed one of ours." And so like Karn gives him the axe. He's like, fine, son. But I want you to take a look at a couple of your friends and ask yourself, is it worth it? I'm like, this is the stupidest. Like, what?
What are you trying to prove? And why are you trying to make this random guy who did not wear a costume? He seems so fucking lame. He's just there dressed like a fucking frat boy. I mean, yes, he's handsome, but like, why is he getting the moment? Like, who the fuck are you?
You know who this should have been, Roger? This should have been Maggie wheeling her ass up there, being like, "I'm gonna go get that fucking magician."
Shotgun in hand. She comes in. She's like, "I've been waiting for this," and they push her at him. That big slow motion moment. I fucking wish. But yeah, I don't. They're trying to create this moment, and like, I don't give a fuck about this guy because I don't know who he is. And I don't understand like what Karn is even trying to, what point he's trying to prove. I'd be like, go for it. I'd be like, you want to go get the job done? I get it. People are dead. Like, let's just kill him. But for some reason, this is what it takes. The guy's like, you know what? You're right. Let me second guess this. And so they back off. And then Karn's like, I'll take it. Right? Because Karn's got let's be clear. I really think that he said when he accepted this role, he's like, yep, that I'll do it. But I want to have the biggest fucking balls on that train. I want to have the biggest balls. I'm going in and I'm getting it done every fucking time.
He's actually, I also forgot how prominent of a character this is. Like, he is,
yes.
They make use of him. Like, he's not like a, secondary push to the side. They really get their money's worth, whatever they had to pay for him for this role, because he's quite prominent. And okay, so in the other car, it's revealed that poor, kindly porter gentleman that was supposed to be watching Elena is now like stabbed through So let me ask you this. Like, everyone is sequestered. Like, Karn just went and got female assistant. Are you trying to tell me like she just walked away and nobody's like, hey, where'd that 7 foot tall assistant go? I mean, she's very noticeable. Like, nobody saw her like sneak away because she went and killed this drink of water guy. And she takes his axe, and when Karn does go back into the magician's quarters, he does find it empty. The magician is not there. So like, now it's kind of playing with the viewer, like, oh, the magician is not there, so he could have killed the dude that's watching Elena's car.
Building up to this, that you've got that old guy, the pleasant gentleman, who finally gets his fucking chance to shine because he's not done shit this entire time. So now he's almost aggressively trying to force Jamie Lee Curtis to go to sleep. And I'd be like, absolutely not. Don't just force these pillows on me. Multiple people in my life are dead. I'm not needing to sleep right now. I am filled with adrenaline. Like, don't put me to bed. Like, give me a fucking gun and let me defend myself. And this man's like, here, go to sleep. No, like, we haven't solved the problem. Like, this is not a solution. And so this old guy, he steps up, and then within seconds, sword through the stomach.
He's dead.
Sword through the stomach. And how, like, did he just look up and this gal just strutted up to stab him? Like, just sauntered right up? Like, I need to know how this transpired.
We don't, but what we do get is a recreation of Jamie Lee Curtis's scene in Halloween 2, when Michael Myers comes into a room to stab her and starts stabbing, and it's the pillow. We get that recreated here, or I think this came out before Halloween 2, so probably, I don't know, they took inspiration from each other, because it's the exact same. Like, the killer now, he's donning that old man mask, that the robe, creepy as fuck, with the axe. He goes into her room. We see a clump of something under a blanket. We assume it's her. He like starts axing it, and we realize it's just the blow-up doll. And like, all of a sudden she comes out of that fucking closet with a sword. Where the fuck did she get this sword? And she stabs him. And like, I don't know. I always like, this bothers me in Halloween 2 too, but like, how how do you know? Like, how do you do that? Like, how do you know that the killer's going to come in and like try to kill you? Like, I don't know. It's real weird to me.
The sheer volume of swords on this train is something to question in and of itself. Because everyone gets a sword. You get a sword, and Jamie Lee Curtis gets a sword. And she steps up and she fucking stabs this gentleman in the back. And then, like, listen, this is a classic gripe. But in this scenario, I think it would be best to stab him again. I don't think that you do one stab and then you just run from the room. You're like, oh my God, he's dead. Like, no, I want to watch him bleed to death. So I am convinced he's not coming back to get me. And there is that one kind of good moment coming up here where he does come back and get her. There's a nice little startle here. But like, honestly, like, girl, like, you're Jamie Lee fucking Curtis. This ain't your first rodeo. Like, come on, like, one stab and then you're like, okay, it's done. This is fine. Like, no, like, this fucker's obviously still going.
Yeah, I mean, it does lead to, probably the most electric scene in the film. I think the film really catches its stride here and it doesn't really let up. But like, yeah, she just leaves him there thinking he's dead, and she goes out into the hallway, and we get that great startle where she's like walking slowly, and all of a sudden his hand comes out and smashes against the wall in front of her. She lets out that wonderful Jamie Lee Curtis scream and takes off, and you get a chase scene. I mean, this is a pretty effective. He's chasing her down the hallway with that axe. There's that moment where she shuts the glass door and he fucking axes through the glass, and like the axe flies out of his hand and lands on the floor. I would have grabbed that axe and started hacking the shit out of him. But she runs into that, conductor's office car. And I mean, you get that moment where like he's trying to get in. She can't lock the door in time. So he comes in. She's trying to get out the other door. I mean, he's coming very ominously at her. He's wearing, like I said, that robe, that old man mask. He's very intimidating. He like grabs those bunk beds and slams them down. And I mean, Roger, he fucks her up. I mean, this is the most fucked up I've seen Jamie Lee Curtis get, in a climax of a film. I mean, he grabs her, bashes her head against the door, like chokes her. That moment when he rips her earring out, I like cringe. And he's like, choking. He like punches her like violently. I mean, she is able to bite him and like then kick him off of her. And when she's able to grab that fire extinguisher and spray him. But I mean, this is violent. She's covered in blood from her ear, from everything. But you get probably my favorite moment in the film is when she runs into that cage. There's like this office, but it's a cage. It's like a cage jail cell. That's the conductor's like office. And she padlocks herself in there because she can't get out the other door. She knows that it would take too long. And like, he is like just outside that cage, like bashing the bashing on it. And then he goes and he fucking picks up that 6-foot long crowbar, that fucking long crowbar. And he's like prodding at her. And I mean, it's quite suspenseful. I mean, this whole thing is like, wow. This is really, really like some high octane shit.
For all the gripes I've had thus far, like once you hit this moment, and you're right, like moving forward from here, like it's pretty exceptional. And she's really on top of her game. She's like, I would say, for the most part, she's making really good choices. There is one moment where, he basically bolts, he locks the door so she can't get out. So she's backed up, and then he like walks up to her, and she kind of just like lets him walk up and start choking her. And I'd be thrashing my arms and anything to keep this guy away from me. But other than that, like as soon as like he gets her down on the ground and she starts really struggling and screaming, the earring bit, I was sold. The volume of blood, yeah, like she gets maimed here. Like she is beat up. End of this movie, this girl is bruised and bloodied. And the visual of her in that white top with blood running down her, it looks like this girl's been through some shit. And I love the whole beat. You're talking about the cage moment. Well, before the cage moment, I mean, there's a moment where it almost starts to feel like the attack is getting a pinch rapey. Her top is getting ripped open. Her bra is showing. Like, and it's got a hint of that sexual undertone to it. She gets away. She gets in the cage. And you start to see the moment of him taking the crowbar and bashing out the light. So the room is getting darker, so she can't see him coming. And I'm like, this is really fucking effective because you see him bashing each light out. What's My Bloody Valentine? To do that and that as well.
Yeah.
But it's so effective because the room is becoming filled with darkness, and this cage is tiny. That fucking crowbar, when he shoves it through the slats of the cage of the metal grating, he can easily get her. Like, she does not have anywhere to hide. So it really is. The adrenaline is starting to pump here, and they do, for all the missteps, they really do somehow land a solid ending here with this film.
Oh yeah, I mean the ending is the standout part of this film. I think it's what makes the film so memorable. Just all the visuals that accompany this whole climax. Her she's screaming at him. She's like, Kenny, and he like runs over and he's trying to. There's a moment she's like just thrashing, looking for anything she can find, throwing shit off the desk, and he comes up to the cage and he's trying to pry the padlock off of it, and his face happens to be up against the bars, and she grabs that fucking. What is it? It's a letter holder. It's like basically a piece of wood with a nail that you slam receipts down on. We've seen it in like Intruder. The grocery store owner gets killed with it. Intruder gets his, but she takes that and she's like slams it into his fucking face, Roger. Now my only gripe with this is we see this nail is about 7 inches long. I mean, it's long and it goes all the way in, and like I would think that it would cause a lot more like damage and disorientation than it does, that what we see, but it does allow her to like kick out of the cage and get out of the room, and you get that whole moment where he's behind her and she's trying to get to the other car, so they're out basically outside of the car trying to get to the next one, and he grabs her and like there's a violent struggle and she's able to push him, and he's like hanging off of the door of the train, grabbing onto her blouse, and there's that moment where like her blouse rips and he like falls off the train, and we think that's the end of it.
And then, it feels like it almost would be, because it is such a big moment. I will say later on when it's revealed the killer, you do notice there's a cut along the sides of the face. So I think, she went to make a stab and I think she missed, but at least there's enough to stun him. So when you see the wound, it makes sense that he's able to bounce back. But this whole bit here is of like this final fight launching him from the train. Like, it's all so violent that it's almost, if anything doesn't work for me, it's the fact that he's able to fucking hang on. Like he's somehow gripping onto that train, and everyone thinks everything's fine. They're putting her back to bed again. And
Karn comes up and finds her like all bloodied, and he's like, what happened? And all she can say is he killed Mo. Well, he already knows that. He was there. Like, he was there with you. So that's the weird thing for her to say. But he like clears out the way, and we do get that shot of the bloody hand holding onto the rail. So Alana, they put her in a car back to sleep. Mary's with her. Mary comforts her and then like steps out for a moment, and we get that fucking great moment. We see the window behind her, and all of a sudden we see that fucking mask, old man mask, like peering upside down in the window, and it's like, rrr. I don't know how physically possible this is or like how he's hanging on, but he is. But it looks fucking great.
It looks great. It makes no fucking sense, but I'm here for it. Again, suspending, disbelief here. But yeah, great shot. And then you really think like he's going to get in, but no, then you've got this whole bit where Mary and then Prez are like, let's get you out of here. Let's get you back with the group. And like, I was almost surprised. I was like, wow, they're adding a whole final act here. This is a whole other moment. And they take their time with it. And I appreciate that, because we've been complaining about like the lack of like the gore and the violence. At least they're making this some intense suspense. Like, you do get some really great moments here.
Oh, it's drawn out. She, instead of going back to the party car, she actually goes into the magician's car where his stuff is. And she's like snooping through his stuff, and she finds that book. So she like sits down and on the floor, and she's like looking at this book, and next to her is the box, like the box that you stabbed through. And there's that moment where she's all of a sudden that fucking door of that box falls off, and the magician, David Copperfield, is crammed into this box with the swords through him. Like, there's that one that's through his head. It's violent looking. Like, again, great reveal. One of the better reveals in the film that's full of like very poor reveals. This one's actually really fucking good. And we're like, oh shit, it's not the fucking magician, which I would have never thought it was anyways. But like, now it's cemented that it is not.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a great dramatic shot. I feel like, for having a film chock full of reveals, they would linger a little bit longer. At least with this one, you get a nice pan up and everything. But, she's screaming and she's running pretty quick. She's dramatically runs to the front of the train. I mean, dramatic. She's fleeing through the crowd in her hoodie. She's on a fucking mission to get to fucking Arn.
Yeah, she wants to tell him that it's not the magician. And when she gets into the conductor's quarters, Karn's not there, but she sees someone sitting at a table and she thinks it's Charlie. So she runs up and sits across the table from the person. And she's like, oh, the magician's dead. I just don't know who it could be. And like she puts her hands on the table and the person across from her like grabs her hands, holds them for a minute. We think it's like a sweet gesture, but all of a sudden like yanks them forward. And she has to look up and we see that it is, we see him, he's wearing a clear plastic mask like you see in like Alice Sweet Alice, but it's clearly Kenny. And he takes off the mask, and then the big reveal is when he pulls off his hood and we see that he is wearing the blonde wig, and he starts to wipe off his lipstick. He takes his flapper out, and we see that it all along he has been, and we even get flashes, he has been the magician's assistant the entire time.
It was played so like delicately that you would never think to look for this, And it was such a genius move and so unlike anything else, and not done in a way that feels like tacky or exploitive. It feels like, if anything, it feels like they showed us like this whole time they got us, And I mean, I think it takes a trained eye to pick up on that. What a fucking awesome genius reveal, and what a well-handled final bit here. I am curious if it means does this mean Charlie's dead? Because he's in his fucking outfit. And I don't think there's just gonna be a spare uniform laying around, so I guess so. But like as soon as he gives like that, that glare as he pulls that wig off, phenomenal reveal. And really well acted, like this dramatic moment between the two of them, this whole little monologue that, not even really monologue, but like this exchange that they have, these just like piercing glares that he's giving her look so hurt, and angry and full of rage. And I really just like, I knew it was going to be him. Who else could it be? But how he was looped in to the story kind of took my breath away. It really did.
Yeah, no, it's actually really a fucking genius reveal. And like going back and watching it a second time or third time, obviously it's not effective, but what you can do is you can really watch that character and say, okay, yeah, it is him. Because I mean, facially, if you're paying attention, it's Kenny, it's the actor. I mean, it very distinctly, the little beady eyes, it's him. But like, I was also impressed, like for this person not having any acting experience and this being their first role, like he's really fucking creepy. Like his monotone voice, like now his voice is completely different. She's like, oh, Kenny, I've never been able to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Kenny, you're better than he is. And he's like, he didn't know how to cut a woman into pieces. I mean, he only has like 4 lines. Like the exchange between these two is very short. Because then he's like, kiss me. And like, I get it. She's trying to save her life. I don't know if I would be as willing to kiss him as she is, but she kisses him. And I don't know how I feel about this ending. I want to like it, but then because the reveal is so fucking genius, but I don't know, because they kiss and then he launches into the same fucking breakdown he had at the beginning where he gets up and it's mirroring exactly what he did. He's screaming. He starts twirling around. He gets caught in the curtain, and it's like, oh my god! And I'm like, this is stupid. It's stupid. It's stupid. And now what also pisses me off, Roger, is like you got Jamie Lee fucking Curtis. You got the most famous scream queen of all time. Now, probably didn't know it at the time. I mean, I think they probably, but like. The director specifically hired her because he saw her in Halloween. And like, Laurie Strode, say what you want about her, but she fucking fights back. What really irritates me about the ending of this film is like, if you think about it, she doesn't fight back at all. Like even, I mean, she sprays him with the fire extinguisher, but she doesn't like fight back like Laurie Strode fights back. And ultimately, Roger, she's not even the one that kills him. You know, Karn comes in and saves the day. Karn comes in, and as Kenny is like spinning around, he hits him with the shovel. The door to the train is open, and he hits him again. And Kenny falls out of the train, and they just happen to be crossing a bridge. We do get that violent moment of his body smashing against the ice and then falling into the river and start floating downstream. And that's basically how the movie ends. But like, I was a little disappointed. Like, I love the reveal. Like I said, I wanted to know, like, did you figure it out or were you shocked? But then
I was shocked.
but then everything after the reveal, after their little exchange, I'm just like, oh no.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, I hear that. I think if anything, I would have been like, give me a little bit more of that moment. Like it's maybe they wrote it short and brief, not knowing if they'd be able to pull it off. But I think there's such an intense moment there, and I just wanted to explore more about like what made him tick and what got him there, what taught him to master a woman persona so expertly that you were able to pass not only amongst people that you didn't know, but people who had actually known you before, like, and they didn't even pick up on it. Like, what's your backstory? Because this is pretty fascinating, and I know none of it. And I think like to have such a rush kind of conclusion and then have him get knocked out the fucking goddamn train, which is cool. But for this to end on such a brief note all of a sudden, I'm like, no, you're like hitting your stride. You're finally hitting your stride. Let this moment breathe, and it could have been something fucking amazing. But yeah, like they nip it like in the butt. Like they get it done. Like as soon as he starts to have this panic attack, he gets caught in the fucking curtain. You're right. Like what are the fucking chances? It is cool. What, you know, this whole visual of him, what is getting launched out of this fucking train. That's cool. But for it to be Karn to be the one to just out of nowhere, he just steps in and claims victory. I don't know. Girl just got her fucking earring ripped out of her ear. Like I feel like she has been through it, and she kind of earned that moment a little bit more.
I just would have, I would have liked a better exchange between the two of them. And I would have like to see her fight. Like instead of just being so easy to give in to kissing him, like, bitch, pull away from him. Like he doesn't have fight, but it doesn't lead that way. And the Karn is the one that saves the day. It's a tough film to rate. Like I there's so much like I like about the film, and there's so much I want to like about the film, but then there's things that just like I can't in good conscience say that like I think this is a great film. I can say that there's great scenes in this film. I love everything in the conductor room at the end when he actually fights her and she gets in that, like that's great. But it's a tough one. I'm torn on this film because it's a film I want to like. Like I want to like this film a lot. I just don't think I do. Does that make sense?
You know, I think there's things to enjoy about this film, but like I wouldn't necessarily say this is one I would want to watch to like have myself like a great fucking cinematic experience. Like I think there's so many things to nitpick here that like I don't think it necessarily weighs out at the end of the day. Like there's visually it looks great, some cool concepts, the train is unique and everything, but it feels like they just missed the landing more often than not. And the biggest issue again, like it really like the main critique here is like I don't know how you fail at almost every kill in a movie. Like I can understand one or two of your kills being lackluster, but for almost virtually all of them to just not work or cut away, or it's just like you kind of miss the point of a slasher in a way.
Yeah. I mean, you say you wanted to make a slasher film, you know, you wanted, and I know Halloween isn't a violent film, but like this is 1980. This is several years after Halloween. Like this is the start of the true slasher, you know, phase with Friday the 13th, where films were amping up the violence and showing stuff. And again, just with the creatives that were involved in this film, I mean, I'm not going to not. I think the film looks beautiful. You know, it's competently directed. I think ultimately, for me, the biggest issue probably with the film comes down to the script.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the problem with a lot of like this film. Somebody needed a couple more revisions.
Yeah.
when it does things right, it is one of the better slashers of that time period when it does things right. And again, one of the best killer reveals, in terms of like pulling the shade over the audience, like having the killer be in full view, like the entire film. And I guarantee you not very many people guessed who the killer was. Like, it's because they do such a brilliant job of, while they make the character prominent, of masking the character just enough that you're really not paying attention. That's brilliant. But again, it's a film I'd probably revisit it. It's a good New Year's Eve type film. It's one of the very few New Year's horror films out there. So it's a fun watch to put on and, maybe have on in the background at a party or something. But God, nowadays, just watching this and having to pay attention to it, especially during the long drawn out magic scenes and stuff, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it to get to the 10 minutes of payoff at the end.
Yeah. I don't think I would necessarily like plan an evening around watching this movie. Like if it's on in the background, I'll be like, oh, that's cool. I'm down with that. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy I saw it. Add one more to the list.
Oh, I'm absolutely thrilled that you finally got to see
you.
it. It's definitely, because I do think there is a lot of iconic imagery from the film that you should probably know. Hey, this came from Terror Train. And I do implore you guys, you, Roger, and listeners, if you haven't seen it, to watch the remake. It's low budget. It's a Tubi production. Keep that in mind. But I think that it does a lot of things right. And I think you'd be happy with the gore. All the deaths are exactly the same. Just picture them amped up like 20-fold, especially the Doc's decapitation. In the remake, it's fucking brutal. You get a likable final girl, the character that plays Alana. She's pretty great. Karn, they do something different where Karn's a female instead of a male. But it's a fun, and then there's a sequel to it. So check it out, guys. But here's the thing. Let us know your thoughts on the original Terror Train. Do you agree with our assessment? Are there things that you think we unfairly or, were too kind on with the film? Let us know your thoughts. I'm glad we finally got to cover this one. It's the first film of 2025. When Roger gets back from, his much needed vacation, we will be back into the swing of things. We'll have some great titles to cover. We're not going to announce them now because I just don't think we probably know. And then I may have a guest or two on, while Roger's gone, so that we keep getting the content out there. And, so stay tuned to the feed and see what pops up in the next couple of weeks. Check out our Patreon. So yeah, that's Terror Train. Let us know your thoughts.
Let us know your thoughts, everyone. Hopefully the 2025 year is off to a good start for all of you. I'll be back in a few episodes and we'll discuss something good. I know my next pick. I'm just not disclosing it to you yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, Roger's already thinking ahead. He knows that's how much he cares about the podcast. He already knows his next pick.
It'll haunt me while I'm on sea abroad.
Well, when you're gone, hopefully, like I said, I can get a guest or two on and we can cover some fun stuff as well. But guys, with that, thank you for tuning in. Again, let us know your thoughts on Terror Train. Choo choo. Come on, ride it, train, and ride it. Choo choo.
It's one of the gayest things Troy has ever done in front of me. My God, what a beautiful way to end this episode.
All right, guys. Happy New Year.
Bye.